Welcome back to Creepcast. We are going to be doing something I don't think we've ever done this before. We're going back. So we've read things before. We're like, that was fun, and usually we don't go into the sequels or anything. Mm-hmm. This is the first time I think we've gone back into a series. I know people have wanted us to go back into like the Tales from the Gas Station series. Yeah. People want us to finish the thing in my basement, whatever, and all that stuff. But this was one that we were pretty excited, and we've been talking to the author, Gabby, and she even gave us a little exclusive. So she did, to sweeten the pot.
Yeah, so if you'll remember a while back, we read a story called, let me get it right, Every Month a Parade Would Pass Through My Hometown, but we were never allowed to look at it. We read that story, and it was pretty awesome. It was about a group of kids who there's a parade that passes through town, and the parents tell all the kids they can't go outside, so then a group of them sneak out. And it seems to be, we never see what it is, but it seems to be a sort of sacrifice thing that the kids inducted into. It's like this small town has to appease some ancient deity. Very cool. We also read 2 other stories from her in that same episode, one of which is the most upvoted story on No Sleep. My sugar daddy asked me for weird favors. And she wrote the story about the guy who follows me everywhere, about the guy that turns around and just counts down. And we read another one of her stories about If You See Me, Please Kill Me, about the girl who had the boyfriend who slowly became her. Mm-hmm. So
more recent recording, yeah.
Yes, and more recent recording. Everything we've read from Gabby's been awesome. And everyone who has read the rest of her stuff has been like, guys, you liked the first part of the Point Pine series, the one about the parade, you have to read the rest of it.
Well, the reason
that's what we're going to do.
The reason that we're even diving back into this too is that the Patreon was, they were like, you should read the rest of it.
Yeah, we had a poll on Patreon what like series you wanted to see while we're recording in person, and overwhelmingly Point Pine won. Everyone wanted to see the rest of Point Pine. So we reached out to Gabby, and Gabby sent us, the whole series, said we could read it, and she gave us another Point Pine entry she's never posted called The History of Point Pine. So I'm pretty excited.
Well, the first one we're reading today is Every 13th of the month, a new apartment appears in my building. Guys, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please give us a nice rating there or consider listening there. It does help us out. And also, to our patrons, thank you for voting on this for our read today. And also, if you're looking to get some extra content and also support the channel, please consider signing up to the Patreon. It does help us out.
Mm-hmm. And also, Gabby, her Reddit profile name is EAPATBP. I have no idea what that means or how to pronounce it, but it'll be linked in the description. You can read all of her stories. We're obviously very grateful for her being so cool and giving us exclusive content like this. So, as always, but especially now, be sure to support the artist. So,
let's do it.
Let's get into it. Are you ready to begin? It's been a while since we've done a long series like this.
Yeah, I know these are usually not, I wouldn't say bite-sized stories, but they're like little quick hits that kind of come in and out real quick, like little fun vignettes. Mm-hmm. But there are, I think we're reading like 8 or 9 of them. So
I think 8.
So
pretty sure.
Strap in.
Let's begin. Every 13th of the month, a new apartment appears in my building. I inherited Point Pine Oaks from my grandfather after my father wanted nothing to do with it. I, on the other hand, was broke and in need of a place to stay and a job, and well, beggars can't be choosers. So that's the answer to the question that I get asked any time that I'm out and about on the street of our town.
How on earth did you get stuck with that place?
Everyone can see what Point Pine Oaks is, which is an apartment building that is 6 stories tall with 12 apartments on each floor. The outside of the building looks pretty normal. It's just a brick building at the end of a briar road, which is a cul-de-sac that contains no other buildings on the street except for Point Pine Oaks. My grandfather bought the building in late 2013. It had been abandoned for over 3 decades, and the town was eager for someone to buy it. It became his passion project, and he fixed up in January of 2014. And the building soon became the biggest apartment building in all of Point Pine. Any resident of Point Pine knows that the Oaks are anything but normal, however. For starters, no one ever decides to move in. If people want an apartment, they have to go all the way to the opposite side of town where the apartment complex is. You see, people don't move into the Oaks. They just kind of appear. Every 13th of the month, a new apartment appears until each floor has 12 rooms. And then, the following year, a new floor appears to accommodate the next 12 apartments. Oh, and I suppose I should also mention, none of the residents are human. At least, not normal, living humans. My grandfather made it very clear to me that humans do not live in Point Pine Oaks, with the exception of the owner, which is now me. He never explained to me why humans are not allowed in the Oaks, and I never really asked because it just felt like the kind of rule that you follow without asking any questions.
Seems like a kind of story. We're leaning into the Tills to the gas station. We're leaning into the Vampire Hotel.
I think, so given that our first story in the series was about a child whose parents had a role for them, if I had to guess, every Point Pine entry is going to be from a different point of view in the town.
Is it going to be in the town or is it going to be in the apartment complex?
The town. Because the first one had nothing to do with the apartment complex.
Because I thought the first one was a house.
No, the first one was kids at school who snuck out to see the parade.
Oh, I thought it was them looking at the parade from their house. I can't remember.
No, they run over to the side of the bank and they lay down and they all close their eyes, but one of them looks and they all come over and take that kid. Yeah. So I imagine each story in the series is going to be from a different kid's point of view.
Right. I mean, that makes sense. It's like what the fuck is the West Side, not West Side Stories, but it's like by the school.
Wayside, Upside Down, Sideways.
Yeah, Wayside School for whatever.
Sideways Stories from Wayside School.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
Kind of like that vibe.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a different perspective.
I only know children's literature. By the way.
I know. I can
only ever reference children's literature. Wish I had something else, but sadly I don't.
But there's another horror story that follows that same convention. I can't think of. There's a Carolian Frequency, but there's some TV show where it's like the same setting, but different perspectives throughout. Anyway, the entire first floor houses people who have died outside of the town. You see, anytime a prior resident of Point Pine dies, they wake up again here in Point Pine. Usually they're put in some secluded house up in the mountains, but for reasons unknown, they all ended up here at the Point Pine Oaks in 2014. The second floor houses the creatures with the eyes that are too wide, teeth that are too sharp, and skin that is too green. They first appeared in Point Pine in 2015 and have been in charge of the farmers market since. They're relatively nice and tend to mind their own business, but that doesn't mean that they don't still freak me out every time I see them in the building. Their incredibly long arms dragging the floor. On the third floor is where the collectors live. The leader of the collectors is a 10-year-old Mary Lou Birmingham. Mary Lou is the one who collects children's teeth. Of course, she doesn't take them right out of their mouths. That would be horrifying. She sneaks into their homes after their baby teeth fall out and takes them from under their pillows instead, like the Tooth Fairy. Most of the collectors are children, with the exception of Old Man Jones, who is an old man. As the name would indicate.
We pieced that one together.
Yeah, I figured that one out. Thank you. Some of the children collect dead bugs. Others collect less unsettling things like flowers, but some collect the dirt from graves in the cemetery. On the fourth floor live all the people who died in 2017 when the bell tower appeared in Windsor Park. No one ever figured out what the deal was with that bell tower, but exactly 12 people died that year as soon as they saw it. Once the people of Point Pine picked up on the pattern, they stopped going into Windsor Park. Of course, after that, the bell on the tower would just ring every month and still manage to kill more people, but that's a different story.
I like to think too that if this is the first entry of the story, it'd be kind of cool if that was what was setting up every story. Mm-hmm. You know, I feel
all
like
the residents.
Windsor
Park got mentioned in the first one.
Oh, maybe. I
remember.
mean, don't ask me. I can't fucking remember anything. But I will say, like, using this as like a fun catalyst of being like, here's all these interesting people that live in this apartment, and then now every other story subsequently afterwards is going to be the happening to why those people died and showed up here. That'd be kind of fun.
Well, it might be that she made the first story, the parade one, and just used Point Pine as a filler name. And then everyone was like, this is great. You should write more in there.
Harry, was the first Point Pine thing that we read, was it?
The parade was the first story.
But was that the first story of it, or is the apartment building the first story?
That the parade is the first story.
The parade is the first story.
Of the series, because we read other like shorter stories from her that weren't part of the Point Pine series.
Yeah.
But she was saying the the parade was the first story, and then we're gonna go back and read all the ones that are like in that kind of world, and then so I have them laid out in the sheet in order from the author of like how it should go. plus the bonus story at the end. That
Yeah.
Yeah. But what might have happened is that first story she made, Point Pine was just a filler name, and everyone's like, "This is awesome. You should write more there." She's like, "All right, I'll make a series." And this is like, it's the second entry, but it's the kickoff to the series by all this extra lore. But I almost feel like Windsor Park's familiar.
Why don't we ask her, editor, put it up? Who would have thought?
I wouldn't, because I don't know yet, because that's in the future.
Well, but yeah, we can. Yeah. It just popped up for them.
Yeah, but when the post goes up, it'd be in the past for me, but it's currently in the future.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
at that median point in time, who would have thought? On the 5th floor are the invisible vampires, but we don't talk about them. Well,
all right.
All right, whatever
I don't blame
you.
you. Invisible vampires. You're invisible and you're a vampire. That's a deadly combo.
That's a rough thing to deal with. That's a problem. The 6th floor appeared this year, and so far, the tenants of that floor were not of one specific species, and they don't seem to have anything in common. The first family to appear is no mouths and communicate by somehow talking inside my head. February, one of the sacrifices from the Point Pine parade showed up. March, it was a headless man. April brought a family of kookies? So what is it?
Cookies.
Cuckoos?
Cookies.
Cucks?
I don't fucking know, dude.
April brought a family of kookies that almost gave me a heart attack the first time I saw them.
It's a El Cucuy is a mythical shape-shifting boogeyman in Spanish and Latin American folklore used to scare children into behaving or sleeping.
Oh, of course.
Not sure if that's it's also pronounced Coco as well. I don't know. I don't know if that's the correct.
Just Coco.
That's what a millisecond Google search did, but I have no idea.
April brought a family of Cocos that almost gave me a heart attack the first time that I saw them. They were by far the most horrifying residents of the building. Their huge red eyes that rattled around in their skulls, their decaying black skin that was crawling with maggots. Upon opening their mouths, the building shook with a horrible screeching sound that was like nails on a chalkboard at 600% volume.
Sounds like Lee Cronin's The Mummy. Does that not literally sound like Lee Cronin's The Mummy?
It was so loud. Gosh.
Also, the rattling, the dead skin. Lee Cronin's The Mummy. Lee Cronin's The Point Pine Place.
One real quick, not to
Don't bring him into this.
It did feel like a creepypasta, like the and then nature of like she falls out the window, the coyotes.
Oh, Lee Cronin's The Mummy.
But then it's like, and then someone someone throwing up, and then
if you didn't
through the walls, and you're just like, what?
If you didn't attach The Mummy to it, I would have believed. Well, I guess I still could. If it was like this is a random town, this is a ritual they do, I'd be like they probably took this from a creepypasta. Because yeah, it did have a creepypasta vibe to it. Yeah. Lee Cronin's The Creepypasta. Lee Cronin's The Creepypasta. Put in a very loud sound effect. Lee Cronin's The Creepcast.
Don't bring him into this. In May, a seemingly more normal-looking family moved in, which terrified me just a bit more than the Cuckoos had, until they invited me to dinner, and I watched their lower jaws drop to their shoulders as each one ate an entire raw chicken in one bite. June brought a demon, who would routinely set fires in the building, but other than that, it appeared to stay out of everyone else's way. Last month brought the Wendigos, which were by far the hardest to deal with. We had to come up with an agreement that they would only eat the undead folks on the first floor, since they would just wake up in their apartments again the next day, and therefore they wouldn't technically be hurting anybody. Today, the new apartment didn't appear until noon. This was odd because they usually appear right at the midnight on the 13th. I stood on the 6th floor, staring at the empty wall until a door suddenly appeared. Apartment number 68. I took a few deep breaths to prepare myself for whatever hideous monster would answer the door, and then lifted my hand to knock.
Coming.
Someone called from inside. I heard footsteps approach, and then the door opened up in front of me.
Hi.
There was a woman standing in the apartment. She looked normal enough, tall and blonde with a tattoo of a rose on her left forearm.
Hi, I'm the owner of this building, the landlord. My name's Eric.
I extended my hand out, bracing myself for some sort of heat or coldness or shock.
I'm Gwen. Nice to meet you.
shook my hand with a strong grip. It was a normal handshake, but I wasn't going to relax just yet. I needed to give it a few minutes to know what exactly these new residents were.
Oh, come in. I'll introduce you to my family.
Slowly followed her into the apartment. Looked around. It seemed pretty normal. And again, all the apartments seem normal. It's things that live inside that aren't normal.
Hey guys, come out here.
Gwen called into the apartment.
Would you like some water? Oh, no, thanks.
I turned at the sound of footsteps to see 2 kids and another woman walk out into the kitchen.
This is my wife, Laura, and our kids, Kimberly and Christopher. Nice to meet you.
Laura stuck her hand out and I shook it. Again, it was normal.
I'm Eric, the owner of the building. Nice to meet you.
There's a brief moment of awkward silence.
So, do you have any questions?
Kids took off as I stood there with Gwen and Laura.
Oh, yeah, so what are the rules? Are we allowed to, paint the walls and hang stuff up? Oh, yeah, I mean, you can decorate this place however you want. Awesome! So, if you don't mind me asking, what are you? Excuse me? What are you? I mean, I don't mean to be offensive or anything, I'd just like to know.
Laura and Gwen exchanged looks.
Like, lesbians? Are you allowed to ask that?
Gwen asked, narrowing her eyebrows.
No, I mean, like, what are you? I know you're not human.
Laura.
Eric is either extremely based or... Lee Cronin's the Eric.
Sigma edit, like, no, but like, I know you're not human.
No, I mean, I don't care. I'm just saying, are you guys like, what, bug people? No, Lee Cronin's the lesbians.
This is an average conversation that I have on every day. And then I step out of the Subaru and it reinforces the lesbian claims.
I thought you were going to say this is an average conversation Nick has every day.
No, this is...
So what are you?
What are you people? Laura laughed.
Not human. What do you think we are, like mythical creatures? Well, I don't know. That's why I'm asking. I mean, your neighbors are Wendigos, and there's a family of Cocos down the hall. Is this some kind of joke? Is it because we're new? No. Well, then we're just regular humans.
I stared at them.
Haven't you ever seen a human before? Not a regular one, at least. Not in this building. Okay, now you're freaking me out. Do you not know where you are? Well, sure, we're in Colorado, right? No, this isn't Colorado. What do you mean? Where are we then? Point Pine. Where? You're in Point Pine. It's a small town in the middle of nowhere. Do you think it's people that don't know that they're dead yet?
Could be people that don't know that they're dead.
A little Beetlejuice meme?
Could be a teleport thing.
Yeah.
Could be a time loop.
The Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor movie.
Guys, our house, our street, our neighborhood
I have to keep explaining the references.
is
Okay.
gone.
I have to keep explaining the references.
And then
Hunter's
Ewan
making.
McGregor running away from a dinosaur.
Last night we went to go see The Mummy.
Well,
Lee Cronin's The
Thank
Mummy.
you. Lee Cronin's The Mummy.
And it was awful. It was terrible. And
We did put up a...
we put a video on Patreon of us like
It was so
reacting
bad
to
that
it.
we recorded us talking.
It's like 40 minutes of me and Hunter talking about how bad the movie
in the
was.
AMC parking lot.
Yeah. So if you want to pay money for that, it's on the Patreon.
That isn't really... That's just more so we didn't know where else to put it.
That's
so we put it
cathartic.
there.
That's
Yeah,
catharsis for us.
Yeah.
But it was so bad. That's why I keep saying Lee Cronin's the blank. And also there was a trailer before it of, I kid you not, Ewan McGregor and Anne Hathaway, whose street is teleported to a dinosaur land. And
Yeah,
now it's a normal American suburb, but there's dinosaurs now.
Oh my God, run! I thought all of the trailers looked so bad.
Which honestly,
they were.
which hold on, that one can be campy fun. The potential to have a street teleported to dinosaur land.
There's a
How are they
chance.
going to play? You know the problem with Lee Cronin's The Mummy? I mean, there's a lot of problems. But a problem
Cronin's The
was
Mummy.
it did not know what it was. It was far too serious for the campiness of the story and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that it was trying to do like a Evil Dead 2 black comedy thing. But the thing
Yes.
with Evil Dead 2 is that it's like slapstick
No,
humor
it
with
should have
Ash
been
and
black comedy, but it
no,
wasn't.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Is
yeah.
I think that it should have been.
Yeah, yeah. Or
But,
like
yeah.
the original Mummy, the Brendan Fraser one. That movie knew what it was.
That's I would say that's like a horror comedy.
Yeah, exactly. But when it wants to be funny, it knows what it's doing. With like Benny and characters like that.
The trailers. Sorry to derail this, but the trailers to this were so bad.
heinous.
I seriously believe
Hold on,
that,
let me
I
go-
seriously believe the Passenger looks like one of the worst movies,
It probably will be. Let me finish my thought.
not of all time, but
The-
like the year or whatever.
The dinosaur one. There's no way that film takes itself too seriously.
100% it does.
There's no way.
100%. Because if
Jurassic Park doesn't take
if it
itself
was
that
Anne Hathaway,
seriously,
if it was Anne Hathaway and Mark Wahlberg, I would agree.
Okay, yeah.
Anne Hathaway, Ewan McGregor, they're playing that to be like, these are serious, these are actors.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
It's gonna be this whole story about family too.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. It's not gonna be. It's not gonna be a grisly. It's not gonna be a grisly horror thing.
Yeah.
But I do believe it's going to. They're gonna try to do like a less because Jurassic Park was kind of campy and fun.
Yeah, it knew what it was. Yeah,
but it's not gonna be that. I don't think it'll be that.
I think it'll at least match Jurassic
I think they're
Park.
going to try to be scary.
Even Jurassic World, they still knew what they were with all the dramatic shots and like action segments and stuff. Like, I
don't think I've seen Jurassic World.
I didn't like any of the sequels, but the first Jurassic World, like it was fun. I knew what it wanted to be.
All I know is the passenger. Editor put up, is the passenger a? Is that a creep? That is a creepypasta. That has to be a creepypasta.
Well, it's the old story of the hitchhiker in the passenger seat. You're driving alone at night.
Well, that's why at first I was like, oh my god.
You see him doing that every time you drive
At first
right.
I was like, oh my god, is this a fucking left-right game movie? That's what I thought when I first saw it. Because the whole thing too is like, oh, don't look at him.
Yeah.
Right? And so then the whole thing is that it keeps doing the repeat.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
That's an old, I don't know if
I actually got kind of
it.
hyped for a second. I was like, oh damn. And then it cuts to this vroom, vroom, and then the third one, vroom, and he does. Also, I hate that every fucking horror movie trailer has to be people just screaming.
Yeah.
That's all it is. All of them. Can there not be any? That's why sometimes you're like, I have
not Kane Pixels the back rooms.
You're like, oh, I have a good feeling about this trailer. Is whenever it's like, oh, it's a horror film, but it's not just screaming at my face the whole time. Also, I about lost my fucking mind when that old bitch from Insidious popped up in that trailer. I was like, oh god, you have a gift. You're like, oh god.
Yeah, there was a trailer.
Here we go.
There was a trailer for a horror movie, and it was like, what's this? It's like kind of Ghost Family, and then the Insidious like medium pops up. It's like, all right, never mind.
As soon as I saw it from James Wan or from Jason Blum and James Wan, I was like, oh fuck.
Well, at the end of the Lee Cronin's The Mummy, that showing up in the credits was the most sense the night had made. I was
dude,
like,
when I have to sit through the 75-minute long intro that Blumhouse makes you sit through at the beginning of all their films.
Insidious goes to Egypt.
That's how I knew.
That Blumhouse tag is horrible.
Oh, it's the worst.
Starts
it's
with
just like
the most cheesy Michael Myers.
Remember all of our fucking box. That's Jason Blum basically taking a giant mirror, putting it up on the wall, and he's just jacking off and coming all over the mirror.
I think that
I'm Jason Blum.
I think early in the studio there was I liked the first Insidious when it came out. I thought it was fine. It's when it became a million sequels. I was like,
it's hard to look back with anything in hindsight now with what has happened.
I know. I get it.
You know?
I get it. Yeah.
So it is what it is. Also,
all right, we got it.
Point Pine.
Yeah.
Laura ran to the window in the living room and pulled the curtains back and gasped.
What is it?
When asked, turning around, their window had a view of some of the buildings in the town below, along with a giant sign right outside. Welcome to Point Pine. Population unknown.
I don't understand. Yeah, me neither. How did we get here?
I shrugged.
I don't really know how people get here. They sort of just show up. Okay, then how do we get to Colorado?
Laura asked, backing away from the window.
You don't. What do you mean? You can't willingly leave Point Pine once you're here. Everyone who leaves gets banished, and even then, when you die out there, you just wake up and you're stuck here again.
Went inside, and Laura ran her hands through her black hair.
So you don't know why we're here?
Shook my head.
But if you really are just human, then this can't be good.
After a few minutes of silence, I left the apartment and decided to go outside and get some fresh air. All right, I'll leave them with that to come to whatever conclusion they want.
Well, I must be on my way.
I stepped onto the elevator and pressed the button to the first floor. Got off and made my way down to the doors, stopping as I reached out to open it. I looked down at the watch on my wrist. Still noon, but that wasn't possible. I'd been up in the apartment for at least 20 minutes, but that wasn't the only thing that was wrong. It was pitch black outside. Couldn't even see the sidewalk right outside the door or the giant tree that was a few feet in front of the building. I pressed my forehead against the glass, squinting to see if I could make out something in the darkness. Suddenly, someone crashed right into the glass, causing me to jump back at least a few feet in fright.
Holy shit! Hey, open the door!
I walked closer and realized that I recognized the person who was outside. It was Lee. Everyone knew who he was since he had lost his eyes to the Point Pine Parade years ago.
Lee?
Open the door!
I guarantee you Lee was the kid from the first one. Because I can't remember what happened to him, if his eyes got taken or if he was taken away, but I guess he lived and his eyes were just...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Lee Cronin's.
No.
The Lee.
No.
It's time to talk about something scary. Your health. I know I don't go in the doctor as much as I should. If I'm feeling sick, I'll just lie in bed and sleep it away. But that's only because I don't want to have to deal with the appointments, insurance, and blah, 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 blah. That's why I have ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors. Choose the right one for your needs and click to instantly book an appointment. We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, eye care to skin care, and much more. And the nice thing about ZocDoc is that you can filter for doctors that take your insurance, are nearby, and are highly rated. It's super easy to use, and you can find an appointment time that works for you with the right doctor for your needs. Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments. You don't want to admit it, but you should probably see a doctor. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/Creepcast to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/Creepcast. ZocDoc.com/Creepcast. Thank you, ZocDoc, for sponsoring the episode. Back to our spooky story.
I want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, Factor. Factor makes healthy eating easy with fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs. Because let's be honest, healthy eating is a whole lot easier when you don't have to worry about grocery lists and timely prep work. That's why Factor's my go-to for staying on top of healthy eating habits. That's because Factor powers your day sun up to sun down with nutritious breakfasts, on-the-go lunches, and premium dinner. And in just 2 minutes, you can heat, eat, and enjoy. With 100 rotating meals each week to choose from, you're sure to find something that you love. From flavors based in the Mediterranean to Asian-inspired dishes, Factor has got plenty of options to keep your cravings at bay. Plus, Factor has the new Muscle Pro collection, full of meals that support strength and muscle recovery. So this week, I get to look forward to things like brown butter chicken and butternut squash. And on their Calorie Smart menu, there's a ton of things to look out for as well, like the shredded chicken taco bowl. You can eat healthy and have a good time doing it. And one of the best things about Factor is there's no prep work, no grocery lines, and virtually no cleanup. So if this sounds interesting to you, then now's the perfect time to get in on their offer. That's because if you head to factormeals.com/Creepcast50 off and use code Creepcast50 off, you'll get 50% off and free daily greens per box with new subscriptions only while supplies last until September 27th of this year. That's right, half off and free daily greens until September 27th. What's not to love? See their website for more details and head to the link in the description to get in on Factor today. Thank you to Factor for sponsoring the show. Their link will be in the description. And we are now back to the episode.
I heard that he had gotten his eyes back at the farmer's market, and now... Are those my eyes? Not that I can see them. And now that I was seeing him, I could see that it was true. I reached out to open the door, but it was stuck. I tried again, pulling on the door as hard as I could, but it didn't budge.
It's stuck.
Suddenly, Lee went flying backward, and I watched, and the darkness lifted, and the sun came out again. I looked down at my watch again. It's still noon. When I looked back up, I found myself standing in the hallway of the 6th floor again. As apartment number 68 appeared in front of me once again. I reached out and knocked.
Coming.
Someone called from inside. Footsteps approached, and then the door opened up in front of me.
Hi. Gwen?
Yeah, who are you?
Eric, we just spoke.
I'm sorry, you must have me confused with someone else.
I didn't reply. Staring into the apartment as Laura and the kids came out. That was at least an hour ago, but the same chain of events keeps repeating every few minutes, and the time has not moved past noon. I don't know how to undo it. I don't even know what it is. I'm pretty sure I know what's causing it, though. Humans shouldn't live in Point Pine Oaks. Cool.
All right, well, that's the first one. So what do you think that loop is for them?
I think that people aren't supposed to be there. It's a supernatural, hotel, effectively.
Sure, but they definitely were put there.
Yes, something put them there. Something went wrong, and I think it may coincide with the guy running to the door and something. There's like a darkness over the town. Maybe Lee did something he's not supposed to, and now some entity's pulling him back. Maybe that glitch caused people to appear in the new hotel room, or something like that. I like the tie-in to the parade earlier.
Yeah, I feel like it was not very invasive. If you've never read the parade one, you still weren't lost.
Yeah. It's not beating you over the head with like, oh, you have to go read this one. Yeah, I agree. I like that one.
Hopefully we see Eric again. I'd like to know how Eric, because Eric's just a regular guy, right?
Yeah.
To an extent. His
grandfather. He's a regular guy who lives in a supernatural town.
Yeah.
Like I said before we started, it's like adult Gravity Falls. Yeah.
I will say this one felt a bit campier compared to the first one. I thought the first one was a lot more like, oh, the parade's coming, don't fucking look at it. Mm-hmm. This one's very much just like, there's ghouls, dragons, and goblins walking around. We're all pals.
Yeah.
They creep me out, but it is what it is. And then the lesbians come, and that's when the danger truly starts.
Yeah, I know you despise
How many times have you said that in your life?
You?
I looked at the camera and the viewer. Lee Cronin's the lesbians.
Okay.
God.
That actually,
would be.
I would go see Lee Cronin's the lesbians. Lee Cronin's the lesbians. Either just back in Cairo again. They're in Egypt. What the hell is this? They're just throwing up and like there's fucking pus and everything everywhere. It was like one of the grossest movies I've seen. Maybe not one of the grossest, but I was just like needlessly, you're like, oh my God, come on.
It was assault on the senses. It was so loud. It was just not nice to look at.
A lesbian like shitting on the floor and then crawling, like punching through the floorboards and crawling out from the room.
I'm willing to believe that not everyone was seeing it, but they should have at least had one person spot her coming through the thing. I mean, obviously,
how is there not one?
There's just no way in a quiet, you see something come through the ceiling. And
all out of context. You know what though? Yeah. I'm glad that it's gonna be a lot. Like, what are they talking? Actually, do you think that we're making it more? We're making it more.
Well, the Patreon
appealing to go see Lee Cronin's The Mummy, so you know what we're talking about.
The Patreon video will be out before this comes out.
Oh yeah, well, not everyone who watches this is a patron. I'm saying
that's true.
I'm saying that people are gonna be like, little girl crawling through the floorboard. What are you talking like that kind of thing?
No, I think they're gonna be like, so the movie's bad. Got it.
We'll see. I went and saw Lee Cronin's I bet you anything. There's gonna be some comments. Yeah, so I actually ended up watching Lee Cronin's The Mummy because of the podcast. And those guys were right. Or actually more realistically, because it's a YouTube comment, it was not bad.
Yeah,
it'd be that.
It was scary. I actually liked it better than like all the other movies.
I couldn't believe how bad the dad actor was.
Yeah,
he's in some other stuff. I've seen him in stuff.
Midsummer.
Yep. Yeah, you're right.
Which also, I want to tell you a story off camera. Or I guess just add it, you can cut it.
Interesting.
All right, there's a new guy in town and we don't like him?
Yep, next entry. New guy in town, we don't like him.
How you doing, Isaiah?
I'm doing good.
All right. Need anything?
We don't really know when he got here. He was just here this morning, although I guess he could have gotten here sometime last night or even earlier today, but of course, we wouldn't know since we don't wake up until 8:13 a.m. I guess if he got here before then, he would have snuck in unnoticed. We don't like him. I can't speak for everybody, but everyone I've spoken to would agree. We aren't too fond of strangers popping in out of the blue. Makes us nervous. How did he find us? We don't know why he's here, although I've heard that he's been claiming that he's from here. Still, he's been out there in the outside world for way too long. He's new to us, even if we aren't new to him. I heard someone say that his name was Cody. I don't know anyone named Cody, and I've lived here for over 10 years. Cody is hyperlinked. What happens when you click on it? Oh, it takes you back to the first one. Was Cody one of the characters in there? Cody. I'm just scrolling. Lee was the person in that story I see who looked. Cody was the protagonist from that first story, it seems like.
His
Yeah,
name
because
was
they're
Eric
saying,
in the first
look
one,
at
I
us, Cody. Do what?
I thought his name was Eric. I thought it was.
Well, yeah, he's right. Cody is the protagonist, I think, and then he went out with some friends, and Eric is the one.
Oh, in the parade
In the parade story.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, sorry.
Yeah, Cody and his friends went out. Cody was the one writing the first story. Lee was the one who looked, and as we saw, got his eyes taken.
Or Eric.
So what happened is he probably left, and now he came back to Point Pine, and people were like, "I don't fucking know you." And he's like,
Yeah,
"I'm from
yeah.
here." Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Okay. At the end, he says, minutes after we left, my parents acted like Point Pine never existed. So the story ends with his parents getting him out of there because he saw the parade. Yeah, I see. And now he's come back later on. I got it. I first saw him while I was on my morning run. He was walking up Briar Road, the road that leads to the Point Pine Oaks, and I stopped for a second, watching him. That's how I knew he wasn't from here. Anyone who's from here would know that Point Pine Oaks has been stuck in a time loop for the past 4 months. I'd also know that the Point Pine Oaks doesn't take guests, at least not guests who would walk in and ask for a room. It's so funny. It's like anyone from here knows about the time distortion.
That's kind of fun, though.
I stood on the corner until he walked back down the road.
What are you doing? That didn't used to be here.
He gestured towards the Oaks.
Yeah. I'm assuming it's not a normal apartment building.
He said, walking closer to me.
Right. I'm looking for someone. Think you can help me?
I looked around the empty street.
I don't know you. Yeah, I haven't been back here in 15 years. 15 years. Gosh, that's a long time. Not that much has changed, though.
I said nothing.
Anyway, I'm looking for my dad. He died about 7 months ago. Well, if he's dead, then why are you looking for him? Don't you know where he is? In the ground somewhere? No?
He stared at me.
Everyone knows you never really leave Point Pine.
He was right, but I wasn't going to help him.
Sorry. I wouldn't even know where to start looking.
That was a lie. I knew exactly where to start looking. He was probably in one of the houses up in the mountains or in the Oaks.
That's fine. I'll go find people that I know. They should still be here. Have fun with your walk.
Watched as he walked away towards the center of town where most of the shops were. He stopped a few feet away and slowly turned back to look at me.
Hey, has the parade happened this month?
Made me nervous that he knew about that.
No.
Mumbled something that I didn't quite catch and continued walking. I was too anxious to finish my run, so I went home instead.
I heard Cody's back.
My father was on the phone as I walked into the kitchen.
Haven't seen that boy in years. It's so late he managed to show up here. Crazy, ain't it?
Looked up and saw me.
I'll call you back. How's your run? Who's Cody? Just a boy. Is it cold out? I met him. Cody, I met him on my run.
He sighed.
He's looking for his father. Right. Is he that Cody?
Deli didn't want to talk about it.
I'm going to the farmer's market.
There were a lot of people around today. More than usual, at least. I walked around a few stands, trying my best to avoid the creature's green skin, wide eyes, and sharp teeth, which was hard since they were in charge of the farmer's market. I was at a produce stand when I saw Cody again. Everyone got quiet and started whispering among themselves. I hid behind a wooden pole before he saw me. I didn't want to be seen speaking to him.
Reed?
Everyone looked towards Cody as he walked up to Reed, who was in the middle of buying something.
Cody?
So she did know him.
Oh. Cody?
Cody.
Cody? Hey! Lee Cronin's the Reed.
So she did know him, which meant he was telling the truth. He was from Point Pine. That still didn't seem to make anyone any friendlier towards him, though.
I thought the parade...
I knew Reed had been in the parade years ago. It had only just appeared in February of this year. Point Pine Oaks.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm looking for my father. Do you have any idea where I could find him? He's at the Oaks, first floor. I see him from time to time. The Oaks? Yeah, but you can't go in there. I figured. I could tell him for you, though. I live there. What about Lee? He's somewhere around here.
She was right. He was. Somewhere being the time loop at the Oaks. I wondered why she didn't specify that. That's interesting. So in the first story, we have the three characters, Lee, Cody, and Reed, who go. And Reed was the one who was in the parade, right? She's supposed to be the sacrifice. And that's the one who's mentioned in the last one. Like one of the girls one of the people that got sacrificed just showed up here, and that's Reed. But for some reason, she can come and go and isn't in the time loop. Probably because she's dead.
Well, she also works at or she lives at the Oaks on the Hill, right?
No, she lives in.
She lives in the. Oh, that's right. She lives in the
apartment,
apartment building. Yeah.
Yeah, she's the one that appeared. But I think probably because she's dead. It's only humans that are in the loop.
Yeah.
Which would explain why it's Lee, the tenant, and the family upstairs. All the monsters can probably come and go. I looked around and I noticed that no one else was speaking. It was dead silent. Cody and Reed must have noticed too because they stopped talking and looked around.
I don't think they like me much.
He was right. We didn't. I saw him again later that day. So I was leaving the Point Pine Library. I just returned some books that my father had checked out on gardening, and I saw him talking to Mr. Terrence outside the Point Pine Bakery. I stood on the steps of the library, watching. They seemed to be having a normal conversation. Mr. Terrence was laughing at something that Cody had said, and it made me wary of him. I already didn't trust Cody. Now I don't trust Mr. Terrence. They continued to talk, and I noticed other bystanders giving them weird looks. I decided that it was time for me to leave and began walking down the steps and onto the sidewalk. That's when the chorus of voices started singing. I took off running immediately, as did the rest of the people standing around. I knew everyone would head for the Point Pine Bar first, since they had recently added locks to their doors, which meant it would get full, and I'd only have to go back and find somewhere else to hide. Point Pine Middle School was my best bet. It was about 2 minutes away if I ran fast enough, so I took off in that direction. I ran as the familiar melody filled my ears. It seemed like it was coming from all around me, above me, and below me. I ran faster, seeing the school in the distance. I'm pretty sure that's the parade, right? The parade's what the melody
like
is, I think, yeah. Because they talked about in the parade that everyone hides, and that you have to find, there was only a few buildings in town you could hide in when the parade was coming. Yep. Yeah. I threw open the doors and walked in. There were only about 20 or so people in here, but I knew it would get full in no time. I sat down on the floor, trying to catch my breath.
Marcus, can you watch the doors for me? The parade starts in exactly 3 minutes. Make sure you lock them and get everyone inside before then.
Got back up, and Mrs. Monroe handed me the keys. I walked over to the door, propping it open with my body as people ran inside the school. I could see more and more people coming down the street, frantically running as the start of the parade got closer and closer. 2 minutes left. The crowd of people had thinned out. Now there were only a few people trickling in at the last minute. 1 minute left. I could see people coming in the distance and I squinted, trying to make out who it was. 50 seconds. As the person got closer, I saw it was none other than Cody. 40 seconds. I began to close the door. 20 seconds. Cody picked up his speed, shouting for me to wait. I kept closing the door slowly.
Wait, please!
I watched as he got closer and closer, and time seemed to slow down as he desperately ran towards the door. I looked at the time. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. I shut the door and locked it. 4. Cody banged on the small glass window.
Let me in, please!
He cried. 3. I let the small curtain fall and covered up the window. 2.
Come on!
1. I heard his footsteps as he ran away, but it was too late. There's nowhere else to go now. The parade had already begun.
Who was that?
Mrs. Monroe asked.
The new guy.
She stayed quiet, so did everyone else in the school. Like I said, we don't like him.
Wonder if, do you think that he actually is gone?
No, I'm sure he'll show up somewhere. I mean, he survived it once, right? For some reason. You just have to close your eyes and look away, it seems, if you can endure. That's interesting. I like that. It was like, we don't like him, and there's this bitterness, and it's like, he may be from here, but he didn't stick around here, so then when he dies, no one has any sympathy for him. Like how isolated this community is, how weird they are of outsiders. Even people from there who've just been gone a while are not
Probably
accepted.
fucking jealousy.
I mean,
a guy that was able to leave and then come back. They're like, fuck this guy.
Well, I mean, yeah, but
An outsider, obviously, but I'm just, yeah.
Yeah, you also see those a lot of just like isolated peoples where it's like, you're not us. Gone. Who cares? You know?
This episode's sponsored by Cash App. Cash App just released a new status program, the way people actually spend, called Cash App Green. No way! That's awesome! It unlocks new ways for you to pay, get rewarded, and easily grow or manage your money on your own terms. Oh yeah. Now, when you spend at least $500 a month with Cash App Card or Cash App Pay, you earn green status, which unlocks benefits like up to $200 of free overdraft coverage, higher borrower limits, and custom personalized cashback offers every Friday at places you love to shop, like Payless Shoes. I don't know if that's real. Like Marshalls, like TJ Maxx.
Yep.
Like Kohl's.
Yeah.
Hey, Cash App, does my Cash App turn to cold cash at any point? Turn everyday spending into status with Cash App Green! Download Cash App today or visit cash.app/new to learn more about this new and other great features launching now. For a limited time, new Cash App customers get $10 if they use code CashApp10 in their profile at sign up and send $5 to a friend within 14 days. Terms apply. Cash App is a financial service platform, not a bank. It's not a bank. It's not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, members of the FDIC. Cash App Green, overdraft coverage, borrow, cashback offers, and promotions provided by Cash App, a Block Inc. Incorporated brand. Visit Cash App/legal/podcast for full disclosure. Oh my God. Thanks, Cash App, for sponsoring this video.
No, that was a pretty good update. I like that one. That was fun.
The next was called The Day the Angel Came.
Perfect. All right. Well, Hunter, are you ready
Yes.
for the day the angel came as I take a sip of mine?
Angel come.
All right, no, don't. The rooftop of the Point Pine Hospital overlooks the town and the surrounding woods. In the distance, you can see the sign that welcomes you to Point Pine, although it's too far away to read from up here. Not that it matters. I already know what it says anyway. Welcome to Point Pine. Population unknown. People usually come up here to smoke. I don't smoke, but I like coming up here and looking down at all the people in town who are walking around running errands and whatnot. They look so small from up here, like ants. Sometimes I imagine a giant foot coming down from the sky and squishing everything in town. It's gruesome, I know, but I've always had an overactive imagination. Besides, it gets boring being in a hospital bed all the time. Beeping of the machines and the smell of antiseptic is enough to make anyone go crazy after a while. So I like to get away for some time. Usually, that means about 30 minutes before a nurse realizes that I'm missing. I'm sure they know where I am by now, and I think they like to give me some time before they come up to get me because they normally don't show up until about an hour after I get up here. I'm not sure if they're allowed to do that, but I appreciate it nonetheless. But enough about me. The story ain't about me. At least, not really. It's about the people of Point Pine, and it's about Apollo. I met Apollo a few hours ago, on the rooftop of the Point Pine Hospital. I'd been up there no more than 15 minutes, and I suddenly noticed him standing a few feet away from me, leaning over the edge, staring at the town below us. He was dressed in all black, including a black hat that covered most of his face, and dirty, worn-out boots. I was startled because I hadn't noticed anyone else out here when I came up. It was like he had just appeared out of nowhere. And given the number of odd things that occur in this town, I wouldn't be all that surprised if he had. He was smoking a cigarette, and the wind was blowing the smoke directly into my face. I stifled a cough and turned the other way.
Don't know what it is yet, do they?
Looked over at him, but he continued to look down and smoke. Again, blew into my face, and I tried not to cough.
Excuse me?
He turned to face me, but I couldn't make out the top half of his face due to the shadow caused by his hat.
The doctors. They don't know what you got.
He replied, taking another drag from the cigarette. This time, when he exhaled and the smoke blew into my face, I coughed. He had an accent, but I couldn't quite place it.
Sorry.
He tossed the cigarette on the floor and used his heel to put it out.
How do you know?
I asked after a few minutes of silence.
Because I know a lot of things about a lot of people.
I stepped closer to him.
Like what?
He turned back towards the town below us and pointed off to the right.
You see that man over there? In the brown coat walking out of the library?
I squinted and found the man that he was talking about. However, I couldn't tell who it was from up here.
He killed his 5-year-old son about 2 months ago and let his wife go to prison for it.
Because it's awful.
People are pretty awful, yeah. You know Mr. Terrence? The psychic baker?
Yeah, is he a murderer too?
He shook his head.
No, he's one of the good ones. But his mother used to torture his sister when they were younger.
Mr. Terrence has a sister?
Had. She's dead. Has been for a few years. Suicide.
There were a few minutes of silence as we watched people walking through town.
Who are you?
Apollo,
I nodded.
and you're Daphne.
Nodded again.
How do you know all these things?
He sighed.
Let's just say I'm not exactly human.
So, what are you?
An angel.
An angel?
Yeah, an angel.
So why are you here in Point Pine?
Someone's gonna do something really bad soon. I need to be here for that.
Thought about all the bad things that happened here. Things like the parade and the time loop that lasted a few months.
How bad?
Worse than the parade, and worse than the time loop.
Stared at the people below us. Tiny, like ants, walking around town. Thought again about a giant foot coming down from the sky and destroying everything. What could be worse than the things we'd already seen?
3 millennial men are going to open a burger restaurant. It's going to be very quirky.
Instead of
It's going to be Edison bulbs and high top chairs. Fries are $17 and they're in metal baskets.
instead of meat options, it's going to say protein.
It's going to say protein. The appetizers are going to say the shareables.
It's good. All the sides are going to be family style.
The bathrooms are sitters and squatters. It's going to be kind of amusing for about 2 minutes, and then it's going to get real old real quick.
All of the food is going to come out in that kind of like patchwork plaid white and red design, the little baskets.
Yeah.
But it will just be over a plastic basket.
Yeah, there's going to be the Hunk and Chungus burger.
But it will come on a metal tray.
That would actually be, oh my God.
On the menu, it's going to have a
People just run
picture.
out to the parade. Ah! Just get killed immediately.
See that car? The one driving in the woods.
Just imagine, I can see the picture in my head behind the counter. It's the menu, and all three of them are like look.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
Yeah, it says like 3 guys in a dream.
So the Heisenberger comes with truffle oil and it comes with Parmesan grated fries. You want to add that for a $1 upcharge?
No, it is always like a $7 upcharge minimum. Ain't nothing on that menu $1.
So we have sriracha marshmallow ketchup.
Sriracha marshmallow. I nodded as I watched the tiny white car become even smaller as it drove.
There's a woman in the car. She's going to kill herself.
Why's that?
Turned to look at me. This time I could see his face. His eyes and mouth were like 2 glowing slits in his face. Backed up.
Her husband just took out a loan for a burger restaurant.
Oh my God. The horror.
Do it!
Oh, wow, she's awesome. There's one of our viewers is about to start a burger restaurant and he's real discouraged right now.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to wear black aprons and black barber gloves.
Everything's going to be way too silver, but also brick. Exposed brick, exposed like HVAC lines in the ceiling.
What would the name of the restaurant be?
I don't know.
6 guys, because 5 wasn't enough.
Be like cleavers or something like that. They have a big
think,
picture
yeah, like
of
a-
a meat cleaver or something.
Oh, yeah. I thought it'd be like, what's something kind of like a little funny? Like a play on the word hamburger, right?
FamBurger. Doesn't it make you want to kill yourself?
FamBurger's unbelievable
Because here, everyone's family.
Exactly.
oh my God.
Doesn't that hurt?
There's just, like, why are there bullet casings all over by the front door? It's going to be like,
Yeah, there's a guy, they're on the hospital roof and they can see someone with a gun walking up, like machine gun, gonna shoot up
They'll
the
never
place.
make it
And
inside.
the angel's like, you see that guy? He's a hero.
I was going to say,
You see that guy? He's not making it inside.
I can't. Yeah. They only serve bison burger?
Well, there's an elk.
I'm just looking for A burger with fries. Yeah, that's not really how we
That's
do
not
it
how we
here.
do. That's not how we do things here. There's also like the buns are way too big and also way too cooked, but it's like grilled buns.
They also burn the insignia, like their logo on
yeah.
top,
On
or like
top
they,
of it,
yeah, they
yeah.
smoke it on top. It just says FamBurger on top of it.
And also instead of man, I hate putting FamBurger into the ether.
That is.
that was
Welcome to
the worst
FamBurger. Can
thing
I
I've-
interest you?
Oh.
Welcome to FamBurger.
God.
Can I interest you in our hangover special?
Yeah. Oh, it's got an egg on it. It's a normal
Oh,
burger, but
yeah.
there's an egg on it. Yeah.
He's like, yeah. There's a guy behind him. He has like lip piercings and stuff, and he has the beanie, like the bun and the beanie and stuff, and like the jacket, whatever.
Yeah.
And he has the glasses, and he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna need one of those pronto. Yeah, I need a firmware update in the form of a hangover burger.
The gelled curly Q mustache.
Got 2 razors.
all razors. All of the meat. It's really funny to imagine this restaurant with bodies littered everywhere.
Oh yeah, everywhere. We're kind of doing a whole, I don't know, post-apocalypse kind of day to day. It's kind of fun.
It's all bison meat, but you can get the elk burger for a $14 upcharge.
We can do elk for $14 upcharge, and we can add truffle pepper on that for a $6 upcharge.
And gold shavings.
Gold
And we do have gold shaving lemonade.
Yeah.
Yeah, we make our own Mike's Hard here.
Make our own mics hard.
But we can't get our alcohol license yet, so it's BYOL for the liquor.
Yeah, we don't really care what you do on the patio. Let's just say that.
So lame.
Just like as soon as he says that, you just see a giant blood splatter against the window.
Yeah, the whole front window.
We don't give it. I feel like I've had that said to me.
Oh my!
Places like this.
Hey, I'll turn a blind eye.
As long as it's not on the camera in here.
As long as I can taste these delicious burgers, who cares?
We don't care what you do on the patio, so God.
We have a sign-up sheet out back to play the big Jenga.
Yeah, so we have Big Jenga and cornhole on the back.
It's always big change.
It's always big Jenga.
It's always big change.
big
If you're really
Jenga.
quirky, they have the giant Connect 4.
Oh yeah. We
Yeah.
have Giant Connect 4, Big Jenga, and cornhole in the back, just in case. Can you put on the game? Yeah, we don't really watch sports ball, but we do have Harry Potter marathon going on. This is my night. That would be hell. That is
Hey,
hell.
what's that big sectioned off place in the back? Oh, well, get this. Next month, we're putting in an axe throwing arena.
So the axe throwing's back there. So be sure to gobble down your boozy shake while you throw axes. But it's BYOL.
Yeah, BYOL boozy shake.
It's BYOL for the boozy shake, but you can do that on the back patio because we don't care.
Hey,
No,
so
seriously,
I
go
ordered
hog
the
wild back
boozy shake. I don't think there's any alcohol in here. Yeah, so we still can't get our liquor
Yeah,
license.
so kind of a patio boozy shake situation.
Yeah, but in here it's more of a fam shake. It's for the kid
This is
kiddos.
this is kind of a kid shake, you know.
That stupid menu picture. It's-
Yeah, meet the chef. You see him like putting the burger in a microwave.
We started this stream started from a conversation we had at Mike's house 7 years ago.
Yeah, it all started with a conversation and a dream.
I never really thought about being a chef. Once I started talking, I realized it was my passion.
But when I found out I had no personality and no taste, I knew this is exactly what I needed to do. I thought to myself, what do I love? That's why I legitimately saw it when I lived in Round Rock, Texas. This is one. There's like one of those kinds of restaurants nearby, and it said start with a dream. And I had to ask myself, what do I love? Hamburgers. It's like that's the one thing you dug up from. I mean, what do you like? What's one thing you love? Hamburgers. Do that. Do what? Hamburgers. Do that. All right.
There's it's like FamBurger, and it's written in that. So like the signs like that kind of brown.
It's written in Nickelodeon font.
No. It's like the sign's kind of brown, and then FamBurger is like big text, thin, then big text in like Old West font,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And then it says underneath it in like a bow, it's like, where the good times are always to go.
Yeah, we're good times, or we're hunger dares to enter.
Where hunger dares enter. Yeah.
That is horrible.
Wait, no, I got
If I saw that, I would say, oh my god.
all ye who enter abandon hunger here.
Oh my god! No, Isaiah, that is.
If I didn't see a Jeep Patriot drive through the front doors of that place. Yeah, just a bunch of homemade nail bombs. The owner's just like stops him.
There's a truck. There's a VBIET just coming over the hill 100 miles an hour. Propane tanks lining
Holy
the truck.
shit.
All you enter abandoned hunger here.
All
is
you
so
enter
good.
abandoned hunger is so unbelievable. Oh my god.
Jesus
Good
Christ.
fucking Lord. Oh my god, kill us.
Wait, no, it'd be the other way around. It'd be because it's abandon all hunger, ye who enter here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Gosh.
That is 100%.
Also, they would have the Saturn eating his son, but it would be a giant burger instead of that person.
Yeah.
That I would if a place was self-aware enough to do stuff like that, that would almost be funny.
I think it would.
But it
still.
has to be done without a breath.
I think
of
that it's
knowledge.
impossible. I think that it's all taken in a way where it's like, okay, now that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ha,
kinda cool.
I get what you did there. Yeah.
Can you read the he turned to look at me again? We can read
Yeah, so
something.
anyway, they see the truck coming, and the angel's like, that guy's a hero.
Yeah.
where was it at?
He turned to look at me.
Because her daughter's sick, and the doctors don't know what it is, but they do know that she's dying, and that woman would rather run away from her problems and never face them again. What?
The door to the roof swung open, and 2 nurses came out. When I looked back as they dragged me inside, Apollo was nowhere to be found, and the only thing that was left of him was a cigarette he had thrown on the ground. Nurses told me I was dying. They said my mom wanted to tell me. They couldn't get a hold of her, but someone saw her steal a car, white car, and drive off. I don't think this is the bad thing that Apollo was talking about. It started to get gray outside. The sun is getting dimmer and dimmer as the minutes pass. I can tell that something's going to happen. Everyone's acting jittery and anxious. The nurses have started to ask everyone to keep the blinds shut, but I've gotten up and taken a few peeks. It doesn't seem to be getting any better. The temperature has dropped significantly inside the hospital, and I heard someone say that the trees in the woods have fused together to form a giant wall around town. Not that anyone could leave town before that anyway, but now they can't even venture out into the woods. I didn't believe Apollo before, but I guess he was right. I got out of bed once. No one was looking because they were too preoccupied with the man next door who was coughing blood. I walked over to the window and pulled back the blinds just a bit. I was face to face with Apollo, who was floating in midair, his eyes glowing. Behind him, dozens of other angels. I didn't tell anyone what I saw, simply closed the blinds and got back into bed. If I listen really closely, I can hear the worried conversations of the other patients. The nurses seem to be the most worried, though. Keep whispering to one another and looking into my room. I heard one of them say that I'm probably going to die soon, maybe within the next few days. I'd be relieved if it weren't for the fact nobody ever really leaves Point Pine.
So is it coming to a fact that's like, oh, it almost seems like Point Pine is hell.
Yeah, it's like a purgatory.
Yeah,
There
a
was-
purgatory kind of thing to where maybe if people die here, they just cease to exist entirely.
Yeah, it's like when the angel comes, it's like these people show up, but angel's a stretch of the word. It's really like some entity that just transfers you. You have to stay in Point Pine, but from one form of life to the other. Like an arbiter, yeah. And there was what was that thing about the town was covered in what? There in the last segment it says it's dropped. The trees in the woods have fused together to form a giant
Like a
wall.
wall, so no one can get out.
Everyone's stuck there, yeah. Well, they could never leave before, or it was like rare someone was able to leave, but now it's like there's a wall that you cannot get around, yeah. All right, so if you look at the stories list, there's a story called Room 813 on Gabby's post, but when we talked to Gabby, she said to keep it to the mainline entries, how she would suggest to read through them, plus the bonus story she gave us. So she said go on to the next one, to Point Pine's newest visitors. That's what we're going to do. But there's bonus stories on the master list that's going to be linked in the description that include things like Room 813. So if you want even more Point Pine, there's like bonus side stuff.
There should be 2 of them. I think
there's 2 of them that Gabby recommended we don't read for this straight run through. But if you want to check them out, they're on that master list. So there's even more Point Pine. But obviously, if the author says there's a better way to read the series, we're going to do that. So our next story in order then is Point Pine's newest visitor came with a warning. Mary Lou Birmingham took my sister Genevieve's tooth this morning. She was the one mentioned in the apartment who takes the baby teeth, right? Under the pillow. Yeah.
The child. She's a child.
The tooth fairy. Oh, she's a child?
Yeah.
Mary Lou?
She's a kid. Because remember, there's only one man, Old Man Jones.
Oh.
An old man.
Of course. I saw her leaving the house when I got up to make breakfast. I only saw the back of her head as she walked out of the front door, but I would recognize those bright red curls anywhere. This wasn't anything out of the ordinary, at least not in Point Pine. That's just what the collectors do, collect stuff. No one really knows why, or what they do with it, except for Mary Lou. We've seen her wearing jewelry made from the teeth of the people of Point Pine. She obviously doesn't wear all the teeth, that'd be weird, and so I've always wondered what she did with the rest of them. Like a quick line, like it'd be weird if she wore all the teeth. Some teeth are fine.
Wearing a couple's fine, but
wearing a couple, let a girl have some
I wonder
fun.
if they just mean because there's so many that it'd be like, how would you even wear
It'd be
that?
like just covering
a
her
giant long cape of teeth.
That'd be pretty cool. See a little girl walking down the street. There's like 20 feet of teeth.
Yeah.
Last year when our, I'm not gonna lie, probably need to cut this, but it says last year when our hamster Pennies died. I straight up read that as penis. Last year when our hamster named Penis died.
Back in Lee Cronin's The Mummy is what he's in.
Yeah, Lee Cronin's FamBurger.
Lee Cronin's The Hamburger.
Last year when our hamster Pennies died, Curtis Mann came to take it from us. He collects dead animals. Those are the only 2 collectors that I'm familiar with, but there's 12 total and they all live at the Point Pine Oaks.
With the amount of close-ups too in that Lee Cronin's The Mummy, that'd be a gross movie. He would put the camera slightly above them, like that. He'd put it so close to them, or it'd be somebody ordering up close. There'd be a little bit of blur, and in the background you see someone just like eating a burger. It'd be that. Anyways, go ahead.
We get Lee Cronin to shoot the FamBurger movie.
I want to get Lee Cronin for the Creepcast, and we can just call it Lee Cronin's The Creepcast for an episode.
Yeah. Recently, the collectors have been behaving a little weirder than usual. Today, when I went on my run, I saw all of them walking in 2 single-file lines down the road. I had never seen all 12 of them together at the same time, so I stopped to observe. They were walking weirdly. They'd put one foot forward and stop for a second, then bring their other foot forward and stop for a second. They walked like that all the way down the road, headed for the shops in the center of Point Pine. I saw them again about an hour later when I walked to the Point Pine Bakery to pick up a pie for my mom. As I was waiting for them to bring my order out, Mary Lou walked up to me.
Hey, Lee.
She said, sounding a bit sad.
Hey, are you all right?
Mary Lou sighed and glanced down at the chain she wore around her neck that contained a small glass bottle that was filled with teeth. Suddenly, that pie didn't sound so appetizing. So she's speaking to our narrator and saying Lee, right?
Yeah, so Lee is the person that's our protagonist right now.
Yeah, and he's the one who lost his eyes.
Yeah, and he's the one who got.
But he was in a time loop.
I don't know how much of this is narratively.
That's true. Yeah.
Why would I be all right?
I stared at her, not really knowing how to answer.
Haven't you heard about the visitor?
I shook my head slowly and then glanced over to see if anyone was on their way with my pie yet. No offense to Mary Lou, but she had a tendency of making people feel uncomfortable. Mary Lou sighed again, then reached out and placed her hand on my arm. She wore a ring with a tooth on it on each of her fingers. Try not to gag.
Be cautious with your eyes, Lee. I would hate for you to lose them again.
She said, staring at me intently with her huge green eyes. I watched as she walked away. The spot where her hand had rested on my arm felt noticeably colder than the rest of my body, and I rubbed my arm until the feeling went away. I finally got my pie and headed outside. I looked down the road and saw the collectors were back in their 2 lines, walking in that weird way they had been earlier. I watched them for a few seconds. Mary Lou turned around and we locked eyes. She brought both of her hands up to her face and covered her eyes before turning back around and continuing her walk. I turned around and started walking back home, thinking about how Mary Lou was quite possibly the most unsettling 11-year-old that I had ever met. On the walk home, I overheard a few different conversations about the collectors. The people of Point Pine were starting to become irritated with them, convinced that they were playing some sort of prank on everyone. When I got home, my mom was talking about them too.
Can't you believe it? They told Sandra's kid that he needed to keep an eye on his arms because he might lose them. I mean, who says that to an 8-year-old?
Mary Lou told me to be cautious with my eyes.
Said as I stepped in and set the pie down on the kitchen table.
What?
My dad snapped.
I'm sure it's fine. They're just weird. They told Cody the parade was coming back to get him soon.
Cody had come back to Point Pine a few months ago. Had survived the Point Pine parade twice now. He'd been staying with us for a while now, but spent most of his time locked in his room in the basement. Okay.
So maybe the time loop is just broken.
Time loop's broken at some point, and Cody lived through the parade incident.
Twice.
Twice, yeah.
She said something about a visitor? What?
My dad asked. At the same time, my mom asked.
Who? Mary Lou. She asked me if I heard about the visitor. What visitor?
I don't know. She didn't give me a name.
That's interesting because I thought by visitor she was talking about Cody.
I thought she was talking about the angel.
She could be, yeah. Just in us. God, we really ruined it because I'm thinking of like the layout of town in my head. Right in front of
all these decrepit weird buildings and then just an extremely bright, big FamBurger.
FamBurger. It's like the hotel.
Mom, I went up and dropped the pie on the counter. Mom says, "Do you see they're opening up another FamBurger on Westchester Street?"
In my head, another one. In my head, it's like built like Gatlinburg, where it's a single like skinny strip in the mountains.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And at the end of the street, you have the hospital that they're looking on, and then like 2 blocks down on the left, you have Point Oak. Or Oak, the Oakwood, whatever, the apartment building. And then straight beneath the hospital is the flaming red FamBurger.
The FamBurger internment camp.
Yes.
They forced Cody into the FamBurger camp
Like
today.
just when you said it, she's talking about the angel in my head, I just see the angel looking at FamBurger and seeing the truck drive through the window. Oh, my parents. If a burger joint shows up, that's a bear trap. That
If
counts.
a burger, I'm not even joking. If a burger joint shows in the story, I'm walking off set.
It could be like if it would be like a greasy spoon though, like a diner kind of place. You know, it wouldn't be FamBurger.
We'll see.
but
We'll see.
if it does.
I don't know. We'll see.
My parents spent the majority of the day questioning what Mary Lou and the rest of the collectors were talking about. That evening, we all got a flyer slipped under our front doors. I was sitting on the couch when it flew across the floor. I walked over and picked it up. It was a black piece of paper with the words, "Beware the Visitor," scrawled crudely at the top in white crayon. Below that, in neat writing, also in white crayon, it read the following.
Residents of Point Pine, tomorrow at 7 a.m. we will have a visitor. We advise you not interact with him, which shouldn't be a problem since no one is allowed up until 8:13 a.m. We will use this time to wander around town and even your homes. If you hear him, simply pretend to be asleep. He is here to take from you, but as long as you don't interact, you'll be fine. Be careful. The collectors.
It didn't take long for people to freak out. Sure, we were all used to weird things happening in Point Pine, but how did the collectors know so much about this? Some people walked over the Oaks to try and speak to the collectors, but apparently Eric wasn't letting anyone in. Not that I blamed him. After being stuck in that weird time loop with him, I understood his caution when it came to the people that he allowed inside his building. Eventually, people returned to their homes and went to bed. There was an odd feeling like something really bad was going to happen. I tried my best to ignore it and went to bed at my usual time, tossing and turning for a few minutes before finally falling asleep. I awoke when I heard the front door creak open. I turned over in bed and looked at the clock. 7:55 a.m. My heart sped up in my chest as I realized that the visitor was here. I could hear the footsteps coming up the stairs, and I turned so my back was facing my bedroom door, shut my eyes, trying to even my breathing. As the visitor got closer, I noticed that he was humming a very familiar tune. It took a few minutes before I realized that it was the same music that played whenever the Point Pine parade started. The visitor never stepped into my bedroom, but I heard him wandering around the rest of the house for what felt like hours. Finally, I heard him walk back out the door. I breathed a sigh of relief as I slowly turned back around to look at the clock. 8:08 a.m. 5 minutes until we could be up. I laid there, staring at the ceiling, waiting for the town alarm to ring. Before it did, however, I heard a scream pierce through the morning silence. It sounded like it was coming from the house next door. I froze in bed, not wanting to take a look and risk seeing something that I shouldn't. Mary Lou's voice kept echoing in my mind as I laid there, waiting for the town alarms to go off.
Be cautious with your eyes, Lee. I would hate for you to lose them again.
Finally, the town alarms went off and I climbed out of bed and made my way downstairs. The rest of my family, Cody, following me. I walked over to the living room window and pulled the curtains open a few inches to look outside. Most of the neighbors were now out there, crowding on the Humphreys lawn. My dad opened the front door and Cody and I followed after him, making our way through the crowd of people to try to see what was going on. We pushed through until we got to the front of the crowd and finally managed to see what the big deal was. On the front lawn was the entire Humphreys family, all 4 of them, laying on their backs and facing up towards the sky, their eyes darting around the crowd of people above them. Their noses and mouths were completely gone. Everything below their nose had vanished and was simply replaced with smooth skin. No nose, no nostrils, no lips, just eyes and smooth skin all the way down their faces. Above their heads was a copy of the flyer that I had gotten last night, stuck in the grass by a rusty butcher knife. Only this flyer was a bit different. It was written on white paper in red font, and it read, "Welcome the visitor" at the top. The rest of the flyer said as follows.
Residents of Point Pine, tomorrow at 7 a.m. you will have a visitor. You have been chosen to interact with him. Congratulations. We will use this time to wander around town at even your homes. When you hear him, get up and say hello. It's an honor to be chosen. He is here to see you and only you. Be happy, be nice, and don't put up a fight. It won't be worth it. The visitor.
Interesting.
So maybe it isn't the angels, but at the same time, I could see maybe it's like they get smooth faces and do their... Because what happened was the angel's face also was smooth and it just had the slits that had the things. But it also makes it seem where it's like, are the angels there to protect them from the visitor? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's like the collectors were the ones who were like, Mary Lou seemed sad because she knew the visitor was coming. And then she kind of gave Lee a word of caution, like, I wouldn't want you to lose your eyes, which seemed menacing, but was actually like a good piece of advice. And then everyone else got the note that's like, hey, do not interact. But then the target is like, why don't you get up? Say hi to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wanted them for
Definitely more
something.
menacing.
Does that mean the Humphreys like suffocate because they don't have noses or mouths, or are they just like kept alive in this state?
I can't tell. I can't tell if it's all up in the air. There's a lot of different ways you could read it. I mean, you could read it as like a purgatory thing of like, is it their existence like being sucked out of the place, or did they lose their identity there? Did they like lose the shell that they inhabit in this body, or is it a thing where they're just stealing their identity or just torturing them? I don't know.
Yeah.
The next one's called "The Things in the Giant Bear Costumes Won't Stop Handing Out Popcorn."
Excellent.
Kind of a turn.
A little bit different from the last one, but you know what? That's what it's all about. I hate the carnival. The obnoxious music that's trying way too hard to sound happy, the hundreds of colorful blinding lights, the mix of popcorn, sweets, peanuts, and sticky, sweaty children. I hate all of it. Of course, because I hate the carnival, it makes perfect sense that I live in Point Pine, where everyone else adores it so much that there's always a carnival in town. It's like the universe wants to torture me. I'm usually able to tolerate it. I just don't go. It's the perfect plan, and so far, it's worked out exceptionally well for me. And then they added the dancing bears. They look like normal brown teddy bears with black eyes and a red bow tie, only these are about 7 feet tall. I saw the first one in the middle of town while I was picking up groceries. It was standing outside the bakery, slowly swaying in place while that stupid carnival music played through some speakers that seemed to be located inside the costume. As I got closer to the giant dancing bear, I thought about kicking whoever had this fantastic idea right in the teeth. When I passed the bear, it held out a bucket of popcorn towards me, seemingly manifesting out of thin air. It kept swaying as it held the bucket out towards me, staring at me with its stupid, beady eyes.
Yeah, no thanks.
I scoffed, pushing it aside. The bear dropped the bucket, and the popcorn spilled all over the sidewalk.
Dumbass.
Mumbled as I kept walking. The next time I went into town, there were 3 bears, all identical, all swaying, and all were playing the same stupid carnival music. I think the best part about this was that the music was not playing simultaneously, making the already lousy tune sound even worse, which I didn't really know was possible until now. Every time a person passed by the bears, they would pull a bucket of popcorn out of nowhere and offer it to the bystanders. Every single idiot took it, of course, and I rolled my eyes as their stupid faces filled with joy. After about 3 days of this, the smell of popcorn was everywhere. I swear, it was in my skin at that point. It was nauseating. One step outside and you were hit with the smell of popcorn. And it even started to seep into my home. All I could smell was popcorn. A single semi-tolerable thing was now also ruined, which only further enforced my hatred. And still, the bears continued to multiply like bunnies. There's now one on every street corner, even the neighborhoods. The stupid carnival music could be heard everywhere in town. It was so irritating that I thought about jamming something in my ears for some relief. The next time I went out, popcorn filled the streets. It was everywhere. It looked like all of Point Pine was a popcorn machine. Popcorn machine that incessantly played carnival music. I could tell that even the other people, who usually loved the carnival, were getting tired of it. No one was taking the popcorn anymore, and they weren't even going outside now. I was sitting in my living room trying to watch a movie and tune out the music when a scream pierced through both of the sounds and startled me. I ran to the window and looked outside where a woman was pointing down the street at one of the dancing bears and screaming. And one by one, my neighbors started to come out of their homes to investigate the murderous screams, and I saw Andy Cobart take one look down the street and throw up all over his rose bushes. Seeing that piqued my interest, so I stepped out of my house, out into the popcorn fumes that set heavily over Point Pine. I walked out onto my popcorn-covered lawn and looked down the street. The giant dancing teddy bear was still there, but whoever it was under the costume had removed the head and was holding it in their hands as they danced. Oh, and the person in the costume didn't have a head. All that came out of the top of the costume was a neck that appeared to have sewn together at the top where the head should be. I stared at the headless dancing person as they moved the giant teddy bear head around while they swayed on the street corner. They had been out there for so long now that the carnival music was no longer happy and bubbly. Now it was distorted, creepy. We all stood outside our homes, staring at the headless dancer at the end of the street, not knowing what to do. When weird things happen in Point Pine, we're usually warned about them in advance, and on the off chance that we aren't warned, someone, or multiple someones, die. A scream erupted from the next street, signaling that the dancing bear had removed its head. Andy's husband, Marwin, walked down the street towards the bear, his feet crunching down on all the popcorn. I watched as he went up to the bear, and a bucket of popcorn appeared in midair and fell onto Marwin's head. I stifled a laugh as he threw the bucket aside. Marwin reached over and took the bear head away from the dancer, turning it over to examine it. He shook it a few times, and I expected a head to fall out and roll onto the popcorn, but it appeared to be empty. Suddenly, the dancing bear reached out and grabbed Marwin's arm with one of its teddy bear arms. Marwin backed up, trying to get away, but wasn't able to.
What the fuck, man?
He shouted as he tried to shake the teddy bear off. Andy ran down the street towards Marwin and attempted to pry the bear away from Marwin.
Why is this thing so fucking strong? I mean, it's a bear.
Wailed in tears. I rolled my eyes and ran over, taking out a small pocket knife I carried in my pocket to cut off the teddy bear arm. The knife tore through the fabric, cutting off about 6 inches of the arm. It sliced right through. The arm was empty.
What the?
Marwin grabbed the now limp piece of fabric and looked inside of it.
They don't even have arms?
He was right. Whoever was in the costume had a neck, no head, and apparently no arms. The entire arm that I had cut was now limp and flapping around as the teddy bear swayed as if all the stuffing had been taken out. I walked up to the teddy bear again and sank my knife into the chest, dragging it down a few inches. Andy gasped. I stepped back and waited, but nothing happened. I looked back at my neighbors who were fixated on the teddy bear. After a few minutes, the carnival music stopped and the bear froze in place. I took a few steps back, and suddenly, blood began pouring out of the gash in its chest, spilling down the front of the suit and onto the popcorn on the ground. After that, chunks of stuff began to tumble out of the same gash, falling onto the popcorn with a sick splattering sound. I looked closer at the things that were spilling out of the giant teddy bear and finally realized what it was. They were organs. Organs were falling out of the teddy bear.
Is that a liver? Yeah. And that's a heart. Yeah. Lovely.
When all the inside stopped falling out of the teddy bear, it crumbled in on itself and sank to the floor, covering the popcorn like a rug.
Is it dead?
Someone called from behind me.
I don't fucking know. At least the music stopped.
We all stood in silence in the middle of the popcorn-covered road and stared at the pile of blood and organs. Andy threw up on someone else's yard, and then Marwin took him back into the house.
Hey, look!
I looked up to see that the dancing bear on the street corner across from ours had also fallen over. Everyone in that neighborhood simply stared at the empty bear costume.
The music is stopping.
I listened as the music that had been coming from the bears got quieter and quieter. It seemed that killing one of them would kill them all. I breathed a sigh of relief and immediately regretted it as my nose filled with the smell of blood and popcorn. I coughed and gagged, but controlled myself before I started throwing up on people's property like Andy. I walked back down the street, heading toward my house. Just as I was about to step onto my porch, I felt the ground begin to shake. I held on to the stair railing and looked back just in time to hear a loud pop and see Felicity Green fall backward onto the popcorn in the street. There was a giant hole in the middle of her chest that was still slightly smoking. There was another pop nearby, and the house next door's living room window exploded.
What the fresh hell was that?
Someone called as people ran over to Felicity's smoking dead body.
It was a kernel. There's no way a kernel just ripped a hole in Felicity's chest. Well, it was a really big kernel.
Amidst the voices that were shouting at each other from across the street, there were another 2 pops. I stared at the ground intently and managed to see one kernel pop up into the air and land a few feet away, making a crack in the sidewalk as the popcorn around the area burned up and started smoking. Now, it smelled like burnt popcorn. I walked back toward the street. The closer I got, the hotter the area felt. The roads were heating up. Point Pine was now an actual popcorn machine. I backed up and headed towards my house as the popping started to increase, sending flaming hot kernels everywhere. I ran inside and locked my door, heading to my living room window and pulling the curtains back to look outside. Everyone was now in their homes, and all that was left in the street was burned popcorn and Felicity's body, which was still smoking and now appeared to be cooking from the heat that was coming from the road. I glanced down the street, where the loose organs were now beginning to move closer to each other, forming a body as each organ took its place. A new costume began to form around the organs, this time taking the shape of a circus clown instead of a teddy bear. It was wearing bright yellow clown shoes, a white and red striped outfit, and blue suspenders and a rainbow wig. The clown's face was painted white with pink circles on the cheeks and a black diamond that surrounded each eye. The carnival music started up again, and the clown jumped up and down the road, yelling, "Hot, hot, hot," every time its feet landed on the hot street. After a few minutes, it caught me staring and waved at me as its head did a 360. Skipped towards my house, stopping in front of the sidewalk, and I stared as a bucket of popcorn appeared out of nowhere, and he held it out towards me. When I didn't move, the clown dropped the bucket on my lawn and then turned around and made his way across the street, jumping and clicking his heels together every step while he shouted, "Hot, hot, hot," in a loud, cheery voice. Do you want to give us a hot, hot, hot impression?
Hot, 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 hot.
There you go. It's good. He kept jumping and clicking his heels as he made his way towards Felicity.
Hot, 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 hot. Hot, 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 hot.
Jump, click. Finally, he reached Felicity's body and leaned down, tearing off her entire arm with ease and then taking a huge bite from the middle of it, bone and all. He stared at me while he ate the arm, and the carnival music slowly grew louder and louder as all the other dead bears transformed into one. I hate the carnival.
I'll be completely honest. What the fuck even was that entry?
So that entry was, there's like this anomalous thing that shows up that takes on an appearance that people like. Everyone wants to eat popcorn, right? And then when the facade's up, when someone recognizes him as like not just nice bear costumes, it's like, all right, well, time to reset and just become.
Well, it feels like
something
the
else.
cohesion of the story so far was kind of broke. Well, like so the first one with the parade, it felt like an entry like the parade, where it was kind of like just a moment, you know. But we've had so many to where I was just like, it just kind of felt like a bit more random in terms of the linear structure of what we've been reading so far. Unless the carnival is the thing that is popping up that people are like, you gotta watch. Are those the visitors kind of thing?
No, I think it's each its own thing. I think it's just like the town's full of like different supernatural creatures, each with their own thing going on. This is just a thing that wanted people to eat a bunch of popcorn, so that it could maybe.
Seems like it infects them, right? Because all the people who ate the popcorn would get killed.
Like an infection or like a way to gain trust for like them to continue. Maybe it had some eventual plan it was going to get to. But once someone kills the bear, it's like, all right, well, that plan's done. New plan, like going to become a clown or something. It's like it wants to appeal to humanity, but it doesn't understand that it's not doing it right. It's like, oh, people like bear costumes and popcorn. We'll do that. And then it's like, oh, well, that didn't work. Okay, they like clowns. We'll be clowns now. It's like they just are just mimicking without understanding how to make the mimicry work. Kind of thing. Yeah. That's what I think. It could just as easily be like a puppy or like a cute kid or something like that.
This next one was the supposed last one before the
Our secret entry.
Entry that she never uploaded. So apparently this was the last entry to the Point Pine place, which was due to recent violent events, pumpkins are no longer allowed on Point Pine. But we luckily have one more after this. So,
all right. So last public story in the Point Pine series. Are you ready?
Yep.
Due to recent violent events, pumpkins are no longer allowed in Point Pine. It all started when Cassandra Wolfhart killed a pumpkin sprout. I didn't know Cassandra personally, but I knew of her. She was friends with Tom's sister, and Tom was friends with me. All that I know about Cassandra, I've learned against my will, passing comments from adults or other kids at school.
That Wolfhart girl, that's a picky eater if I've ever seen one.
One thing that everyone in town knew was that Cassandra hated pumpkins. She literally could not stand the sight of them. I once watched her start screaming at the top of her lungs when a barista at the Point Pine Cafe offered her a pumpkin spice latte. The girl was weird, and her hatred of pumpkins was the weird cherry on top of the weird sundae that was Cassandra Wolfhart. Tom said that anytime Cassandra came over during the fall season, she would avoid looking into their backyard. Apparently, the first time she went over, she saw their pumpkin patch and went white as a ghost before she passed out on their kitchen floor. She showed me a dent that she swears was made by her head hitting the wooden floorboards, but Tom is kind of a liar sometimes, so I just go along with most of what he says. I knew about the other girls at school who liked to play pranks on Cassandra. One day, they filled her locker with pumpkin guts, and when she opened it, she threw up in the middle of the hallway. I have to say that at first, I found Cassandra to be a little ridiculous, but now I feel bad for her. So many people constantly terrorize her with her biggest fear. I think about what I would do if someone was dangling me off a cliff as a joke, and I realize that I'd probably react the same way that Cassandra has. Last week, I was at Tom's house while Cassandra was there hanging out with his sister Megan. Even from Tom's room, I could overhear Cassandra complaining about pumpkin spice season. I even heard her gag a few times after she said the word pumpkin. Cassandra left before dinner that day, once she found out that Tom's mother was serving pumpkin bread for dessert.
Boy, that girl sure hates pumpkins.
You put your soul into that one. That was good. That was powerful.
Boy, that girl sure hates pumpkins.
A lot of passion in that. Tom's dad chuckled as she went out the front door.
Why did Tom become my new favorite character?
No, his dad.
Yeah,
right?
Or Tom's dad,
Yeah. Tom's dad, yeah. Tom's dad would stop FamBurger.
Yeah.
He's that kind of guy.
I have a gun. Had a dream. Tom's dad, you rule.
I have to make it to heaven. I can't.
Blood for the blood god.
Penance must be made. A few days after that, Cassandra's brothers managed to carry her to Tom's pumpkin patch in her sleep. When she woke up surrounded by pumpkins, she screamed so loud that she woke up everyone in the neighborhood. Yeah, so you can't be awake before 8:13. But when do you have to be in bed by? Because it's like if she wakes up at 2 a.m. in a pumpkin patch, is she donezo? That just sucks for her.
I would assume. I don't know. They haven't really established that.
Hey, we pranked Cassandra by killing her in the pumpkin patch.
Yeah.
We fed
Epic
her,
prank, bitch.
we fed her to the blood god.
Exactly. Tom's dad shot her with his pellet gun.
It had to be done.
Had to do
It had to happen. They all rushed out to find her slamming her fist over the pumpkins, punching holes into a few of them. She had apparently broken off a few nails doing this and severely cut up and bruised her hands in the process. They had to call the police and the paramedics to tear her away from the pumpkin patch and then sedate her so they could transport her to the hospital. Since her brothers had filmed it, they were in some big trouble with the cops and their parents.
May said she tried to go visit Cassandra, but she wouldn't even talk to her. She kept crying and saying that the pumpkins were going to want revenge.
Tom said as we did our history homework.
Revenge for what? For what she did to them, duh. She basically murdered a bunch of pumpkins, Haley. I saw what it looked like afterward. She literally destroyed a whole pumpkin patch.
I looked up at Tom, who was highlighted in a textbook.
Yeah, but they're pumpkins. Like, they don't care. She doesn't think that.
He mumbled with a highlighter cap in his mouth. I didn't hear much about Cassandra for the rest of the day, but the following morning when Tom's parents went outside to clean up the mess, they found that all the pumpkin debris was already gone.
You mean someone just cleaned it up?
I asked Tom over the phone.
I mean, I guess. What else could have happened?
I didn't say anything, because honestly, I don't know. Maybe someone just felt bad and had decided to help Tom's family out by cleaning up Cassandra's mess. It wasn't likely that she would clean up after herself, at least not without having some sort of breakdown. The following morning at 4 a.m., someone called the police claiming that there was a girl in a hospital gown wailing and running barefoot down the street. It was Cassandra, and when they caught up to her, she said she was running from the pumpkin monster. She had made it all the way to our neighborhood from... I'm about to read the line. She was running from the hospital, and I just pictured her running by FamBurger, which is on the front left corner of the hospital. Like there's a literal pumpkin monster behind her. The three guys are out front, just like arms crossed, watching her
On the patio.
on the patio. Yeah,
Smoking weed.
yes. Yeah, what you doing on the patio? Hey. Don't let it shut the door. Don't let it draft in.
They have the churro Disney fans outside.
They roll tobacco cigarettes. It was Cassandra. She had made it all the way to our neighborhood from the hospital and collapsed on her front lawn. I watched through my bedroom windows. The police talked to Cassandra and her parents for a few minutes. Something caught my eye off to the left, and I looked over to see Tom waving me down. I ran downstairs and out the front door to meet him.
What's going on? She says there's a pumpkin monster out to get her.
Tom grinned.
Maybe all the teasing caught up to her and she finally broke.
I looked over at the rest of the neighbors who had been drawn outside onto the street by the cops and the crazy girl in a hospital gown.
Or maybe not.
Tom trailed off. Glanced back at him and saw he was pointing towards one of the running paths that came out of the woods and between two of the houses on the street. There was movement in the trees and a flash of orange before something came out of the woods.
What the fuck was that? Oh my god, it's here. The pumpkin monster's here. Please, you have to help me. I don't want to die.
Cassandra wailed as she saw it. And for once, Cassandra wasn't crazy. The thing that had come out of the woods was, in fact, a pumpkin monster. It was about 7 feet tall and made out of broken pumpkins from Tom's pumpkin patch. The pumpkin pieces were crudely molded together to form feet, legs, a torso, arms, hands, a neck, and finally, a head. It had pumpkin guts draped all over it, hanging off its body and leaving a trail of them all over the ground. It stopped in the middle of the street and people began to go back into their homes. It seemed to look around for a while, moving its lopsided, half-smashed pumpkin head from side to side, even though it had no eyes or any other facial features. After a few seconds, it headed straight towards Cassandra, who screamed so loud I thought my eardrums were going to burst. It began to awkwardly make its way towards her home, taking wide steps and fumbling as it tried to speed up.
Oh, hell no.
Is that a Russian accent?
Was it Russian? No. That's what it says. Oh, hell no.
I'm talking about your intonation on the character, your assumption.
Oh, is he Russian? Oh, hell no.
No,
Oh,
I'm trying to attack you directly, Hunter.
Oh, hell no.
All right.
Is that Russian?
It shook the ground with each
that
step,
better?
and I held on to a nearby fence for balance. The police pulled out their guns and shot at it a few times, but it continued to walk, unfazed. Cassandra darted between two of the officers and headed towards Tom and me.
What is she doing? Why is she running this way?
Pumpkin Monster pivoted and began making its way towards us as well. Cassandra ran past us, looking back towards the monster for a second. She continued to run down the street, and Tom and I moved out of the monster's way as it chased after her. After a few seconds, Tom took off after it as well.
Where are you going? Don't you want to see what happens?
I hesitated for a second before I followed.
Hey, come back here.
An officer called after us. I do think it's kind of like so much stuff happens in the town. Clearly, this is like, Goosebumps, fun, Pumpkin Monster thing. But it's funny how so much death and weird stuff happens in town that their friend is like, yeah, Pumpkin Deity's going to get her. Don't you want to watch? Don't you want to see her get like eviscerated by a pumpkin person?
Yeah, it feels like this is like Carly Beth from Goosebumps mixed in with Sandlot, the guy running at the end away from the dog.
Yeah.
It's giving me that vibe.
Yeah.
So now all I'm hearing is Wipeout playing. Oh, Wipeout! Whatever that deal. Isn't that what they play during the at the end of when he's running? It's like
oh yeah, I thought you were talking about the TV show Wipeout. That's why. Yeah, you're the song. Yeah,
yes,
I was
in the 1992 film, they're watching clips of Wipeout.
The boing boing boing.
Oh, I got it. Russia dead? Oh, hell no! Back! God, big stretch. God damn.
We made it to the end of the street just in time to see Cassandra trip and roll down the small hill. We stopped and listened to her screams as she kept rolling down the hill.
No fucking way.
Tom whispered. We kept watching as Cassandra rolled straight into another pumpkin patch, her head making contact with the biggest pumpkin and slamming right through it with a dull thud.
Oh my God, she's dead.
The pumpkin monster tripped down the field, falling over Cassandra's lifeless body and falling apart all over her in the pumpkin patch. Cops finally caught up and raced down the hill to check on Cassandra, but I was right, she had died. Not even an hour later, there was a town-wide announcement. No more pumpkins in Point Pine, ever. Tom and I watched from the top of the hill as people carried the pumpkins away to burn them at the edges of town. Someone had already taken Cassandra's body away, but left the pumpkin that her head is smashed through. For days, all that anyone talked about was Cassandra's freak accident. That night, Cassandra was seen again. Multiple people reported seeing her walking around town, sobbing and asking for help. I was one of them. I heard her cries in the middle of the night, looked out my bedroom window to see her standing in the middle of the road right outside her house. She was dirty and bruised, covered in pumpkin guts, dried up blood. She cried loudly, gasping for breath while she screamed.
Someone help me, please! Please, I hate pumpkins.
I continued to watch as no one, not even her parents, turned on their lights or even looked outside. Cassandra fell to her knees in the middle of the road, continuing to cry before finally falling face first, her forehead pressed to the road.
Please, I hate them.
She continued to cry for a few minutes, and I backed away from the window and got back into bed. After a few minutes, she started to scream. She's done this every single night since she died. She screams about how we should have listened to her. Getting rid of the pumpkins now won't stop anything. She claims that they'll come back and that we're all gonna die. I guess one thing that kind of sucks about Point Pine is that the dead never really leave. That's a fun entry, I like it. The girl who's afraid of pumpkins gets tortured with pumpkins, and then Pumpkin Monster gets her. Again, very Goosebumps.
Yeah.
What? What is it?
Oh.
Yeah. Did you not like it? You were vibing?
No, it is fun. It is very Goosebumps. I wish that they all had that cadence. Like, if that's supposed to be... So, the next thing that we're reading is a secret entry. That was the last one, right?
Publicly,
in the Point
yeah.
Pine entry. I kind of wish that they were all. I just wish there was a bit more cohesion between all of them. Like I liked the last 3 or the last 2 were like the first one where it's like, hey, there's a parade. I like the idea of this town being a place where it's like all this weird shit happens. No one's gonna be faced by a pumpkin monster.
Yeah.
But people are still tortured and they're it's like still a horror story for whoever's being affected.
Sure.
But the stuff that's like all cohesive throughout the middle of section of it feels like that was just kind of thrown. Which I don't know. Maybe there's something added here.
Well, I mean, each one was kind of like its own. Each entry was its own
towards something.
vignette.
No, did you not feel like it was building towards something?
Other than something bad's going to happen, but I think that everything with Point Pine's building towards something bad's going to happen. Like I don't think it was building towards anything. It was just vignettes because each story was from a different perspective of a different thing happening. Like the only thing that happened twice was the parade, but the second time wasn't even really about the parade as much as it was like how much the town hates outsiders.
I think the way that the characters were interwoven made it seem like there was something that was coming in.
I could see that. I didn't really get that. To me, it was more so just like, yeah, here's a guy from this other story doing another thing. Because and if anything, that was reinforcing to me, like, yeah, no matter what these guys go through, it is just one of many.
Yeah, and I guess if that's the case, if that's what we're saying, then I wish it was just something entirely new.
Yeah.
Because bringing it back to people that we've known, that's like, oh, well, this guy's come back. He's been gone. He came back, and people are like, ooh, weirded out by it. That's fine, but it's like I just kind of wish they were all just random vignettes of just different people in this area. But
I can understand that.
yeah, this next one, the last one here, is a entry that has never been published. We get to read it here. The History of Point Pine, a prayer to the wrong god.
For the final entry of the Point Pine series, again, you can check out the other episode in the link in the description on the master list, but this is the one that was sent directly to us by Gabby, which thank you very much, Gabby.
Thank you, Gabby.
The History of Point Pine, a prayer to the wrong god. In the middle of the dark and cold forest, I began to think this was my end. I was going to die here, in the middle of nowhere, and I would have the dumbest obituary in the whole town. Wilmer Moore, age 22, loving brother and son, got lost in the woods while getting high and froze to death in the middle of the night, like an idiot. Cold air had pretty much killed my buzz at this point, and the fear began to creep in. I fought hard to stop it, because I wasn't completely alert, and the last thing I needed was to get paranoid. I hyper-focused on my steps, putting one foot in front of the other. I decided a few minutes back that I was going to pick a direction and head that way, in a straight line. I figured that was my best shot, and I would eventually either hit the road that led into town or I'd fall off a cliff. At this point, I'd welcome either one of those options. I couldn't see the moon, and I remember thinking it was because of the weed at first, but as I scanned the night sky, I realized it was absent. It's funny. It's like, there's no moon. I must be pretty... Oh, no, it is gone. Got it. The moon is, in fact,
It almost
gone.
makes it seem like the Point Pine place. I mean, if it is like a purgatory, but it does feel like it's just existing in nothing.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely not in our world.
Well, that's kind of the thought I got by the darkness that was around the oak that one day before it disappeared. Yeah. Yeah, it feels like it's in space floating somewhere. Maybe tonight's a new moon, I thought. It was easier to hold on to that explanation, given the fact that I had no idea when the cycles of the moon happened. Then I began to fear that I had died, and this darkness, as well as the fear that came with it, was my personal hell somehow. I don't know how long I walked before I saw it. A small, dim light off in the distance. My first thought was that I was seeing the light that remained on the Point Pine Bakery, but it was different, and I still wasn't seeing any of the other buildings in town, so it couldn't have been that. As I continued heading towards it, it was in the path, the direction I'd chosen. I soon realized that it was a porch light, and I'd walked right up to a small cabin that was hidden amongst the trees. I had seen things that were a lot weirder than this before, so I walked up and knocked on the door. When it opened, I recognized the occupant. It was Robert Ford, the oldest child. A lot of people thought he was a myth, another creepy story that was made up by someone years ago and easily believed because it paled in comparison to some of the other things that took place in Point Pine. Robert was said to have been a child since 1598. He's seen in some older photographs that can be found in the archives of the library, detailing some of the town's history. Of course, the photographs only go back so far, but it's widely believed that he was a child long before those images were taken. As I stared at Robert, I realized that before this, I had not believed in his existence. I had seen the images, we all had, as they were part of our curriculum in school, but I didn't believe that he was real until I was face to face with him there, the dark and cold forest.
Yes?
He asked after waiting for me to speak.
I'm lost.
Stepped aside and let me in. The inside of the cabin was what you'd expect. Small kitchen, couch, radio, and a bed. There was room off to the back, which I assume was some sort of bathroom. I sat on the couch.
Did you come from town?
Robert asked. He didn't sit. I nodded.
I'm also high.
Of course.
Stared at him and he stared at me.
Would you like some water?
I nodded and he walked over to his kitchen. He was a boy. Looked to be around 11 or so, but I was never really good with kids or guessing their ages.
How old are you?
Question slipped out of my mouth as soon as I thought it.
That depends on the answer that you're looking for.
Robert replied as he handed me a cup of water. I took a sip. It was room temperature, but it felt rude to complain.
Have you always been a child?
Have you always been your age?
Shook my head no.
Neither have I.
When did you stop aging?
When I was 12.
I was close, off by 1 year.
Is it weird being a child your whole life?
Well, I'm not really a child. I just look like one.
That's problematic.
I suppose our problems are different then.
Drank the rest of the water.
How come you never come into town? Some people think you don't exist. They think all these images of you are photoshopped.
I exist for a reason other than being a citizen of Point Pine.
What reason?
Robert sat down on the floor in front of me, crisscross applesauce.
Do they still teach the history of Point Pine in school?
Yeah. They tell us about the settlers who came here and how secluded it was. They set up a town far enough away from everyone else. They were never bothered. Blah 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 blah. Then the bad stuff started happening.
Ah, so they changed the story again.
Again.
Yes. The last time someone came around here, they told me a different version. It seems like the version you were taught differs even from the original.
Wait, so what's the original? Are you sure you want to know? Why wouldn't I?
You can unlearn things. And sometimes, certain kinds of knowledge can be a burden or a curse. Ignorance is bliss, as they say.
And I will say so far, this is probably one of my favorite setups. I really love the idea of there's this immortal child, because everything's so weird in town, but it's like the oracle who's seen everything, who remembers the old history that keeps getting buried and stuff like that. I think that's a fun setup. In another situation, I would have been deeply unsettled by Robert's demeanor.
I want to know.
I nodded, leaning in towards him.
Okay then, but please remember that you asked me for this.
I nodded again, and he began.
European settlers ended up in Point Pine years ago, but not because they liked the isolation. They got lost on the way to their actual destination, Jamestown, Virginia. I was very, very, very young then, so the details of this are a bit murky. But some of these settlers believed they had arrived in Virginia, and some swore that they had seen a sign leading them to the destination. Once they were here, however, in Point Pine, they realized that they were wrong. They weren't in Virginia at all. They decided to stop here and rest, but that ended up being the worst decision they could have possibly made. By the time morning came, the road they had followed into the area was gone. It had disappeared, and the sign that they'd sworn was leading them to Jamestown had changed, and now said something else. Welcome to Point Pine, population unknown. A few people tried to leave the town. They tried walking through the forest, but they got lost, and not all of them made it back.
Outside, the winds picked up a bit, and I could hear the sound of the trees rustling in the night.
Very quickly, the settlers realized that there was something very wrong with the land. There was a reason why this place was so isolated, why even the natives have left it alone, with remnants of dilapidated buildings and homes scattered across the land. Once they realized they couldn't safely leave, they had no choice but to stay and build. They needed to find water and food, and so they searched, and they found something. Not the something they were looking for, but something to help them.
Robert paused. He dragged his fingers across the floor of the cabin, slowly.
What did they find?
They thought it was God. They prayed and brought offerings. They prayed for food, and a herd of sheep came wandering out of the forest. They prayed for water, and it began to spray from the earth. So they kept praying, and they kept bringing in offerings, mainly food and crops once they had those. Soon, though, people started to get sick. More specifically, the children.
He stopped, looking me in the eye.
They prayed for the children. Some prayed harder than others, offered more than others, made deeper promises. They thought this thing was God. So when their children were saved, when their child woke up the next morning completely fine, they had no reason to think that something sinister was coming, or they had brought it upon themselves.
So, it wasn't God?
It was a God, just not the God they wanted.
Which God was it then?
Robert shook his head.
Other things. Other gods. Want more in return. Other gods are not always good or just. Sometimes they're not gods at all, but always know how to convince you that they are.
Stared at him. Wanted him to explain, but I knew he wouldn't.
Soon, things began to happen. People would die and they wouldn't be dead. People would hear things and see things. It didn't take long for people to make the connection to realize that what they had been praying to was not God they intended to praise, but it was far too late, and other people didn't care. Other people had different ideas. They didn't fear this thing. Instead, they saw it as a resource, as a way to get things they wanted, things they couldn't get any other way.
Like what? What kinds of things?
After I almost died, my mother became paranoid. She was afraid that I would be taken away from her at any minute. And when she found out that she wasn't able to have any more children, the fear intensified. It consumed her! So she became a believer in this God, a devout follower, willing to do whatever it took in order to keep her children safe and alive.
I'm eating this up. This is what I wanted out of this.
I had been alive for about 16 years before my father realized what she had done. And even then, he did not know the full scope of it. Even now, the deal she made is not entirely clear to me. All I know is that my father, with the limited details he had the assumptions he had made, became enraged. And one night he confronted her. They fought for what felt like hours, but it was so long that I couldn't really tell you. I don't know if my mother eventually confessed the magnitude of her crimes to him, or if the anger was too much for him to control, but that night, before the sun rose, my mother was dead. The next day, the parade started. It was devastating. You know how it works. You know how you have to hide, and then you know where to hide, but they didn't know anything. They didn't know they couldn't look. They didn't know it needed a sacrifice. Did you see it?
I asked. Throat was dry again, but I didn't want Robert to stop telling me the story.
I've seen it, yes. It took hours to clean up the dead bodies after the parade came through. That's what it did to the first time. It killed everyone in its path. It lit a fire inside them. Oh, and they cooked from the inside out. The smell of cooked flesh lingered in the air for weeks after that, as a reminder. The next time that music started, we ran. There were less casualties that time.
What happened the second time?
Yeah, I was thinking about Lee and his eyes. Robert cleared his throat and looked around the cabin, towards the window on the far left wall. He didn't answer.
Why don't they teach us this? Why do they change the story?
I asked, picking up on the idea that he didn't want to tell me what happened the second time.
Like I said, ignorance is bliss.
He sat in silence for a while. I thought he would continue, tell me more details, but he didn't. I mentally kicked myself, figuring that I had ruined my chances of learning more with my questions. I stopped myself from asking anything else as I sat there thinking about what he had just revealed to me.
You'll have to leave soon,
he said, breaking the silence.
What?
I apologize. I don't mean to be rude, but you'll have to go.
Stood up and held the empty cup back out to him.
Can I have some water?
He took it and walked back to his kitchen.
So, how do I get back?
He handed me the cup and I drank it all in large, rushed gulps. He took the cup from me and opened the door, motioning for me to step outside.
Can you point me in the direction of town? I got lost earlier when I was smoking in the woods.
Robert shook his head.
It won't matter. You'll never make it back.
Froze in the doorway.
What do you mean?
There are some things that you can't know. Like I said before, this is some knowledge that is cursed. What you learned here tonight wouldn't do anyone in Point Pine any good. Why do you think I'm out here? Why do you think they stopped letting me go back into town? Why do you think they change the story every few years?
So what am I supposed to do? I can't live out in the woods. I'll starve or I'll freeze to death.
Robert shrugged.
I tried to warn you.
That was barely even a warning. I want to go home.
I realized I was shouting, my exasperation echoing in the night.
You can't! You need to get out of my house!
I stepped out into the forest. Sun was rising, but that didn't seem right. I'd have been inside Robert's cabin for that long.
Good luck, Wilmer.
Turned around as Robert was closing his door.
Cody made it back.
He paused.
How long ago?
A few months.
My palms were beginning to sweat as the paranoia began to creep in. Glanced towards the west. He was remembering something.
Then you're going to be very glad that you're out of that town.
Ah, interesting. With that, he shut the door and the singing began. I fell to the floor and wrapped my hands over my head, shielding my eyes from what was to come. But it never came. The chorus continued, like usual, only louder. Like the melody was coming from the ground, the trees and leaves, like it was coming from inside of me. But the parade never came. After a few minutes, the music stopped, and I peeked. Seeing nothing, I stood back up and noticed that Robert's cabin was gone. I looked around, thinking I'd somehow gotten lost, though I knew that was impossible as I hadn't moved a single inch. Even though there was more light now, the woods felt quieter and more dangerous than before. Felt lonelier somehow too, emptier than they had felt when I first gotten lost, before I even found Robert. I thought about what he said, about how I would never go back. His voice repeated in my head as I tried to calm myself down. Finally, I looked toward the direction Robert had looked before he shut the door in my face and began walking again, hoping to eventually hit town as I prayed to whatever God was listening that I would make it back home.
That's the end. She should upload that one.
That
good.
one was really good.
But hey,
That was a
Gabby,
banger.
what the fuck is going on with Cody?
Well, Cody's like a harbinger of something. He either is the
What
thing-
happened though? I want what to what? We never figure out what it is.
Well, clearly this isn't the end of the series.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah.
Well,
Clearly there are
when is the
more
last time
entries.
that she wrote?
Well,
one?
it was 6 years ago, that masterless post. But she said I'll update the list as I keep going, and maybe they start working on other projects. Because there are comments from like 2 months ago saying, "Why did you never continue this?"
Gabby,
Well, let's-
don't pull a George R. R. Martin on us. Please don't. I need to know.
Gabby, so she wrote a lot of No Sleep. It looks like maybe the Point Pines, like the sequels, weren't getting a ton of attention. She went back to standalones and they were getting more attention. So I totally get that as a creator, being
Well, even
like,
if you
this
don't-
isn't working, I'll go somewhere else.
Even if
But-
you don't finish it, send me a DM. Send me an email.
Yeah, so after... What's going on with Cody?
Give me an update on Cody.
Well, what's funny is, so she went back to posting like standalone stories,
Yeah.
and she has been making bank because, like, she did The Woman in My Family Give Birth Differently, 4.1 thousand upvotes.
She's just making bank.
She did well.
Reddit, Reddit likes.
Bank as in I mean
Raking
like
in the dudes,
U.S.
baby.
Bank, could you cash this check for me, please?
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't mean
what's
that-
the conversion to USD to Karma Gold?
I didn't mean that in the Reddit sense. I didn't mean that in the Reddit sense. I have to save a little bit of my credibility here. I didn't mean that in the Reddit sense. I meant that in that people kept clicking.
Well, yes,
kept
she's been
reading.
doing very good.
Yeah, she said she did. This is 4 years ago. My sisters and I have been locked in an attic for 24 hours. 2.8 thousand. Like,
She has an extremely dedicated fan
and
base.
let's also keep in mind the most upvoted story on No Sleep.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm not questioning that she's not. I'm upset because I
No,
want to
no,
know.
I'm
send me an email.
I'm saying that.
shoot me an email.
I'm saying I understand why if
Give me a
people
call.
aren't reading your sequels to Point Pine, you move on to standalones. I get that. But hopefully, with this video,
I think you can do both.
I think you can do both too. But I hope that this gets interest in Point Pine, that she continues it.
Yeah.
And she should, Gabby, you should absolutely post that last entry. I think that might be my favorite entry
I like that
from
one a
the whole
lot.
thing.
That was
Yeah.
fun.
That
I do think the
I
Point
like-
Pine series works best, in my opinion, as I like the connection between all the characters. Like, it can be new characters, but they're interwoven.
Yeah.
I was having fun when it was intertwining in that way.
I think if she has an eventual goal, because they talk about once you leave Point Pine, you can never come back.
Yeah.
Somehow Cody comes back right after his dad dies. We don't get any explanation on that yet. So I think Cody is a sort of like a prophet almost, or a harbinger come back to the town. So I think there's more that can be done there. So I think it makes sense to have some stories that mention Cody if he's going to be so big in later entries. But then that in line with the kid where he's like, you're going to be thankful you're not in that town then. And yeah, you also have the line from the angel that something bad's coming here.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is there's a lot of unanswered questions right now. Don't pull George R. R. Martin, please. Let us give a little something. I will say too, though,
I love
that
the setup.
the three main characters that we had, that was Lee, Cody, and Reed. I like that it could be anybody in the town, but it's just a small connection between them. It adds a level of cohesion. That's why I was just like with the bear one, it is what it is, the carnival and all that kind of stuff, and the pumpkin one, that's fine. But I do think like that lack of that kind of intertwining it took me out, because I was getting so invested into that. Even the one, Lee is barely in the apartment when motherfucker just keeps flying out into the goddamn loop the whole time. But even that was a fun like little Just gives you a little more, but
yeah.
No, it's a lot of fun. Gabby, call me.
I don't know about that, but
Give me a call.
I really
know about that. Just give me a call. One call. Hey, this is what happened. Oh, okay, cool.
I really liked I loved the last one. I love the direction that it is that he was a kid when the first settlers got there, and they keep changing the story because people can't know it, and they prayed to a god, and like his mother was a first convert, and you can see how somehow his mother prayed really hard that he wouldn't die, and it looks like she got her wish because he's still alive even now.
Yeah, I imagine that Cody probably intertwined with that boy out there in the woods somewhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff there. And then I love at the end when the stoner's like trying to find, he's like, so I prayed to whatever God would listen. It's like we hear about the mistakes that led to this in the first place, where, you know, they're so desperate to get back to civilization, or they're so desperate to survive that everyone prayed to this being that was good enough of a God for a time. And then the story ends with the stoner doing the same thing. It's like, well, it may not be for the best, but I'm scared right now, so I'm going to commit to this.
A nice cheese campness to the story that I think is good. That once again, it harkens back to Tales from the Gas Station and Tales from a Lonely Broadcast Station, that I think people really resonate with. I think also, once again,
fun.
I think having characters that keep popping up makes it more to where I think you become more attached to those characters and stuff. But I will say the Point Pine town itself is just a fun backdrop that I think it'd be cool to keep exploring. I still think you can once again do standalone stories and still just dip into that. But I would
love to see way more Point Pine stuff. Like I said, in the master list, there's another Point Pine entry for you all to read if you're interested. And also, please support, Gabby,
of course,
and all that stuff. She certainly deserves it. Gabby, please post this, and please keep writing this series. How about let's say this.
I'm going to email you my phone number.
Let's say this,
and I expect a call.
Let's say this, Gabby, if you finish the Point Pine series or something like that, we'll cover it. We'll do a return to Point Pine.
God,
we'll do the rest.
Lucky you. Hey, Gabby, aren't you just the luckiest little duck, huh? Hey, guys.
I'm saying because I'm excited and I want to read more of it.
No, we'll cover it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why not?
This one on us.
You know what?
We'll do that for you.
You know what?
You put in all the work, and we'll read it.
You know what, Gabby?
Truffle fries for free.
Yeah, you know what? Truffle fries, Harry Potter marathon on the back.
Yeah, you know what, Gabby? BYOL, shakes are on us.
Yeah, BYOL, shakes are on us.
Yeah. Abandon all hunger.
Guys, thank you so much. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify right now, thank you so much. Consider giving us a nice rating. And hey, to our patrons, thank you so much for supporting. We appreciate you. Until next time, guys, we will see you in the next one. Stay creep, bitch. I'm adding a bitch for now on.
I don't like that.
I don't give a fuck.
That's a little too violent.
I don't fucking care.
Be sure to bomb your local...
Jesus!
Whoa. Be sure to bomb your local... Gabby, we'll read it. We'll read it for you.
I was going to say, be sure to bomb your local burger joint. But yeah, that's it. Whatever. Yeah, on us, Gab.
Bye!
Bye.